call this meeting to order. May we please have roll call?
Vice Mayor Farmer,
Here.
Councilmember Sandu, Councilmember Campion, Councilmember Lozano,
Here.
Mayor Lamson.
Here. So I have a special guest. The city clerk is going to do the silent prayer, and then I'm going to introduce someone to lead us in the flag salute. So if you guys want to stand for the silent prayer. Thank you. If you want to sit for a minute. At the request of Councilmember Lozano, that's him right there, I have asked Itzel Medina from Liberty Ranch High School and her coach, Brian Robinson, to come down and lead us in the flag salute today. Itzel is a sophomore from Liberty Ranch High School, and she is the first wrestler, you heard me right, in Liberty Ranch history, male or female, to make it to the state wrestling championships. So this season, her record was 29 wins and 12 losses. 2 of those losses were to boys, and 2 were at state. And at the Bradshaw Christian Boys Tournament, she took 2nd place. So how many weight classes are there?
13.
There's 13 weight classes. I'm not going to ask her weight. And at the Bear Creek Invitational, she took 1st place. At the Brittany David Invitational, she took 6th place. At the Del Oro Invitational, 3rd place. Sac Joaquin Northern Regionals, 4th place. Northern California Masters is right before you get to state. She took 5th place. And for the CIF State Championship, she qualified but did not place in that. Now, her coach, Brian Robinson, he wrestled in Missouri. He was all-state, and he has been coaching wrestling and track and cross country at Liberty Ranch for 6 years. So, can you pass me that? The box? Sorry. I have a little something for you. I forgot it. Thank you, Sean. Thank you much. So the city of Galt, we'd like to, it's not the key to the city. You have to get some of those. But this is just something special to commemorate your wonderful deeds and keep working. So she's only a sophomore, so hopefully we can get her to wrestle in college as they start to have those. I'm going to have you lead us in the flag salute. So come on up. Tell me to stand.
Can everybody stand, please? Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And believe it or not, I believe she's going to practice right now. All right, agenda approval, additions, or deletions? Okay. I'll do mine last.
F4.
You want to pull
Yeah,
F4 off the consent?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I would also like to move under the regular calendar. I'd like to move the Parks and Recreation items to right after consent. So we'll have public comment first, not from the, we'll call you up when it's time. How's that? Would you like to read the public comment, please?
This meeting of the Galt City Council will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will air Friday, April 5th at 9 a.m. and Saturday, April 6th at 9 a.m. The City Council meeting videos are also archived on the city's website. A DVD copy is available from checkout from any library branch.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have public comment from Barbara Payne? Do you want to call it?
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the City Council on non-agenda items. The public comment section is for the City Council to receive comments. Except for brief responses to questions, no discussion or action may be taken on any item that is not listed on the agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Speaker cards are located on the table inside the entrances to the council chambers. Once completed, forward the speaker card to the clerk. Those persons wishing to speak on any item scheduled on the agenda will be given an opportunity to do so at that time the item is being considered. And under public comment.
Thank you. Sorry, I rushed you. All right, we have Christina McCoy with the Community Garden, and I believe she's representing the Girl Scouts. Do you want them to come up with you?
We're also going to invite Barbara and the garden board to come up as well. So, the Girl Scouts have been involved with the community garden for quite a few years. As our troop planted there, we had our box, and then we realized that the garden needed a little bit more, and so the Girl Scouts put together for their bronze award, they put the little learning library out front of the garden. And so we've been able to participate with the garden and listen to on their board meetings and hear the need that they've had to raise funds in order to have things like timers for the systems, all sorts of things. They have great ideas, and if they had a budget, wow, the things that they could do. And so the Girl Scouts and my family had the opportunity to donate money to the community garden. And so tonight we wanted to present that money to them. So we have a check, big giant Ellen DeGeneres check to the community garden for $2,500.
Okay.
And then Joelle, who's a member of our troop, and my daughter, she wanted to say a few words.
Can you pull the mic down for Miss Joelle? There you go.
My name is Joelle. I'm in 7th grade and a cadet in the Girl Scouts. Part of being a Girl Scout is earning badges and awards. I'm currently working on my Silver Award. I'm thankful for the generous donation to the Barbara Payne Community Garden because all of these funds, I will now have enough money to cover the cost of my project. Over this next year, I will be working with the garden leadership to complete various beautification projects at the Barbara Payne Community Garden. Some of the gardeners have wrote down their thoughts about what they would think would benefit the garden. These ideas can range from chickens for manure and a brick path. These ideas are all within the price range, and I would like to conclude to thank you for your time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to say a big thank you, but also I would like to say that this garden has and exists just because of people like that. The city let us have the lot, and Chris Arias was able to get us a grant, and Russ Flutie got us our first donation from Home Depot. But the whole garden is there because of the generosity and the support of people like this young lady and her mom in the Girl Scouts. So I would like to say that I'm really proud of it. We have Girl Scouts, we have Boy Scouts, we have 4-H. We even have preschool from the Head Start school that has a garden there. We have people from all different cultures. Most recently, a garden was given or was awarded to a lady from, and I can't say it correctly, but Zimbabwe. And then we have from India, Of course, we have quite a few Hispanics. But it is truly a community garden. It's not a Barbara Payne garden, it's a community garden. Thank you so much.
So, former Mayor Barbara Payne, if someone would like to get involved with the community garden, how might they contact? Do they contact you?
Yes. They can contact me through Parks and Recs. That's the best place. Yeah, Parks and Recs.
Okay.
We have applications there if you want a garden or if you want to contribute in any way. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
I know some of you were coming in late. If there are more speaker cards, feel free to sneak them to either the police officer, the chief, or Chris Arias right here, no problem. And now I'd like to call Sarah McFadden with the Galt Teen Center.
As you can see, there's a lot of people here in the audience who are here to support a teen center in Galt. I would love to see a raise of hands of all those in attendance who would support having a teen center in Galt. Thank you very much. That's what I expected. So I would just like to inform you about the progress that we've been making towards a teen center. We have mailed the first paperwork to become a nonprofit, and a local attorney has agreed to help us create the bylaws pro bono. We had our first volunteer meeting last week, and we appreciated Sean Farmer came and attended that meeting. We're currently organizing a board of directors, and we have a professional website designer who's willing to create and maintain a website for us for free. We have a graphic artist who's working on creating a logo for us. We have volunteers who will install security cameras and a sound system for free. I have met with someone in our city who has given me information about significant federal funding that would likely be available to us. So we are continuing to work to make this vision a reality. We are asking the city, or possibly a generous donor, in our community to lease a building to us for $1 a year. We are confident that we will receive enough volunteers and donations to fund this program if a building is provided. This would meet a need in our community that is a high priority, saving the city a lot of money. Today, a journalist from the Lodi News Sentinel contacted me and interviewed me over the phone regarding this project, and I was just informed that she also contacted Chris Arias. And so I find it interesting that our neighboring community feels that this is important enough to write about even early on in this stage of the project. So how much more important should it be for our city government? I personally know teens that struggle with anxiety, depression, who don't have self-confidence, who are addicted to drugs, who cut themselves, and who are contemplating suicide. I am meeting with a mental health professional on Monday to find out what resources are available out there for these kids. When Galt citizens were asked what is needed most to meet the recreational demands of our community, the number one response was a teen center, and that was in the Parks Master Plan update in 2010. And in that same document, the highest demand for programs was for 13 to 18-year-olds. And this is what the citizens need and what we want. So we would really appreciate your support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And next we have a speaker who's very familiar to most of the teens in town, Miss Angela Schroeder.
Hello, my name is Angela Schroeder. I
don't know many of you, but I look forward to eventually getting to know you in the capacity of who I am. I have taught in the Galt High School District for almost 20 years. My first year as a substitute, and then I was hired on in 1999 as a full-time teacher at Galt High School. And then when Liberty opened, I was transferred over to Liberty Ranch High School. So I have a special place in my heart for this entire community. And I bleed red and I bleed green. So I love the kids of this school. Within that time, I've had the opportunity to teach, coach, and love thousands of the youth in our community, having gone to weddings, baby showers, and even, unfortunately, funerals. My husband and I have chosen to raise our own children in this town and look forward to many years of their own growth and development within the confines of a city which feels more like a family. However, we have often lamented the fact that there is nothing for the youth of our community to do. True, there is a skate park. That only touches upon a very small portion of the kids. What is truly needed in this town is a teen center. A teen center would benefit so many aspects. Students who, first of all, need a safe place to hang out after school would have that environment. They would be able to get tutoring for assignments if they still just didn't get it while doing their homework. They would be able to use the internet and printers for research papers and projects, which unfortunately some of our students at, I know, the high school level do not have access to. Ideally, there would be a library, there would be video game devices and clubs which would help foster and meet camaraderie amongst our teenagers, strengthening the bonds of our town. From the early stages of planning, which I have been privy to, the greatest aspect of this whole center is the student involvement. I love that the kids will be an instrumental force behind the implementation of ideas, and that the structure and goals of the center itself will be molded and crafted by them. As an educator, I have too often seen the bogging down of what is truly needed by those who feel they know what's best. In this case, the kids know what is best, and they know what they need, and should and will be guided along the way by competent adults whose pure intentions are to see the benefit to this community, not just for their own children, but for future generations of children. My children, my children's children, on into however long we're here. Let us all support this worthy cause and bring some stability into the lives of our youth in a world where, all too often for them, life seems chaotic and disjointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Next, we have Nicole Gregg, who's also with the Teen Center.
Hello, thank you. So I wasn't planning on talking tonight, but it just kind of happened, so I'm just going to wing it. Like they said, a teen center here in Galt would be amazing. I, for years, have said that we needed that. Surprisingly, in a building that used to be a bowling alley, then was a bingo hall, now is a church. Before I started going to that church, said, we don't need another church. We need a teen center, and that would be the perfect place. Now it is a church, but so thank you for heading this up and to the team that's working on that. I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club before it was tore down, and just kind of, there was a family of boys that came there, and they got in trouble like all little boys did. But after the Boys and Girls Club closed and they didn't have anywhere to be after school, their lives took drastic turns. We lived across the street from them, so we were able to see this all kind of unfold. And unfortunately, gangs is where they turn to. One that is currently in jail and has been for probably about 10 years now. Could this have happened when the Boys and Girls Club was around? Probably, maybe. I don't know, but they would have had somewhere that if they weren't held accountable for from their parents of where they were, they were held accountable for us that worked there, because if they weren't there, we made phone calls. Why aren't they here? So, I mean, I guess I'm just saying, like they touched on, you know, the gangs, the drugs, all that. It's never going to go fully away, but we can help cut down on that by having a teen center and having somewhere for these kids to go that may not have anywhere else to go when they get home, you know, or even the kids that, and my kid is one of them that goes home and does her homework and then goes straight to an iPad, or, and, you know, and I'm at work, so it's hard to, you know, restrict, and, you know, grandparents can only, they want to be the nice guys, so they can only restrict so much before they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead, your mom will be home in an hour, you know. But it gives them somewhere to go, and it gives them a safe place to go. So they're not walking the streets, they're not getting in, they're not having that opportunity to get in trouble. It very easily, I mean, I know there's people in here that I played sports with their kids, and very easily we could have all gotten into the trouble that we could have, but we had things to do, we had places where we could go and to do, so we didn't have time to get in trouble. So I just think a teen center would be amazing for our kids here in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Julie Clark. And then on deck is Andy Hager and Laura Hughes.
Hey, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council and citizens of Galt. I have lived in Galt for over 10 years, and in that time, many things have changed. I have seen hopeful business owners set up shop only to close shortly thereafter. I've seen new housing developments crop up in former vacant spaces. I have seen the expenditure of large sums of money by the city on water, sewer upgrades, and I've seen the housing market crash and gradually rise again. One thing I have not observed is the addition of any significant new park or recreation spaces. Another thing I haven't seen is the expenditure of funds towards the betterment of our youth. What a city spends its money on says a lot about the values of the community. In our case, I believe our spending does not accurately reflect our community values. Granted, many of the things the city spends money on are the result of new state requirements and other mandates. However, other things, for example, money spent on a consultant to instruct us on how we can attract certain businesses to Galt, in many cases, businesses that Galtonians don't want, or $50,000 to a consultant for staff development training, or money to draft proposals for projects that haven't been vetted by or presented to the citizens. These things are non-essential, non-mandated, and therefore should be considered secondary to investing in projects which actually benefit the people living in Galt. If there's one thing people in Galt are passionate about, it's their children. The people of Galt have specifically settled here or chosen to stay here because they want to raise their children in a small, safe town. Living in a small town does not mean that their opportunities should be limited. Galt is not an impoverished city. We have the resources to provide excellent parks and recreation spaces for our kids. It is all about how we prioritize what we spend our money on. Recently, I was reviewing the Galt Parks Master Plan update from 2010. I enjoy reading that document because it gives me hope. When that plan was developed, the input of the residents featured very prominently in the vision and plans. I sadly discovered just the other day that the park proposed at the cost site will never come to fruition. The city decided to sell the 16-acre parcel in 2015 for a meager $250,000. One reason for selling was that the park build-out was likely another 10 years. That type of short-sightedness is regrettable. Recently, the city sold another 5.7-acre parcel to Arcadia Development, and I won't comment on my thoughts regarding the wisdom behind that transaction, as that issue has already been decided. But the positive aspect of that deal was the $353,000 resulting from the sale of the property, and that money will go to Parks and Rec. I strongly urge council to think very carefully about the plans for the money. I fear the money will be cannibalized by operational costs within the Parks and Rec department. I am here to suggest that the city earmark the money from the sale of the parcel for the construction of a building to be used for the proposed Galt Teen Center, perhaps on the lot owned, on the city-owned lot formerly occupied by the Boys and Girls Club. The city desperately needs more services for teens, primarily recreational and social opportunities. I will refrain from going into the entire litany of reasons why a teen center would benefit the people of Galt. I will leave that task to the other speakers. As many cities don't like spending money without answering the question, what's in it for us? I would like to point out that the benefit of providing such a venue would not be one-sided, as the city itself stands to benefit greatly. The addition of a teen center in Galt would be another feather on our cap, adding to the desirability of Galt as a place to live. The presence of the teen center would potentially result in a reduction of petty crimes and drug offenses by minors, consequently reducing the demand for police contacts and service calls. Additionally, the presence of a teen center means better outcomes for our youth and a better future for our children. Creating strong young people who value their community translates into a future generation of adults who look fondly upon Galt and who may decide to come back to Galt and raise their families here. It is time that the city prioritize something which sends a message to its citizens. We value you. We value your children. You were elected because the citizens of Galt believed that you would fight for us, that you would be our voice. As you see by the presence of those who came here tonight to support the proposed teen center, the people are using their voice. They are asking you to not only listen and politely say, thank you, but to muster your power and your resources to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. All right, now we have Andy Hager and Laura Hughes. Go ahead and pull the mic down. You can pull the mic down.
So hi, my name's Andy. And my name is Laura. We are from Galt Girl Scout Troop 1205. We are working on our Bronze Award, and we had an idea. We were thinking of putting a little dog house full of toys for all the dogs at the dog park.
At Monterey Park, we have spoken to citizens and they said it was a good idea.
We are doing this for the dogs and the owners who want something to play with.
The cost will be about $300 and will be covered by Troop 1205.
It will be a 2-foot cube.
It will have a supporting stand to keep it up.
Here's an idea of what it might look like. We have talked with Sean Farmer back in November.
And we are ready for our next step. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. That was a very nice job. You should be proud. Just to confirm, Coach Linebaugh, you're here for the events, not for the just general public comment, correct? Yes. Okay. I'm moving you to the other section there. Okay. I don't see any other public comment for that. So let's go over the consent calendar. Or do we pull? Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and communities. Vice Mayor Farmer?
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Sandu?
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Lozano?
Yeah, I just have one thing to report, and I'll be brief. We had at the SACOG, we had an issue where SACOG board asked city, jurisdictions to write a letter of support for the Green Means Go program, and there's some attached potential funding mechanisms with this program. It really speaks to how SACOG will work with the state and federal government to try to bring funds to the area to help with transportation and other costs. And so, as I learned last week, we were one of the very few municipalities who had not yet signed a letter of support for the program. And so, as the SACOG representative, I signed a letter on behalf of the city. And so I want to report out to that. And I think Krista Rice could probably do a better job of explaining the Green Means Go program, because it's been in the works for quite some time, and staff's had some intimate knowledge about it.
Yeah, I want to thank Councilmember Lozano for stepping up and getting that letter out. I would have hated for the city to be one of the only jurisdictions in the region to not support the program. But the Green Means Go program, SACOG is seeking state funding to support and provide grants to its local municipalities for infrastructure and other things like that that would support infill and smart growth. So when talking to the SACOG rep, they were actually excited about the many things we've been doing that relate to smart growth and infill development. In particular, we've implemented a fee reduction program for infill. We've got an annexation that's really considered an infill that's going to bring our two halves of the city together. Our industrial annexation, where we're balancing residential growth with job-producing type uses. We're all exciting to SACOG because those are examples of smart growth and infill development that they were hoping we can eventually fund with grant funds. So again, thank you, Councilman Lozano. It's good that we did that.
That's in the interest of time. I want to. That's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. I attended the Sac Metro Air District Board meeting, and we had some presentations, some studies, and the number one cause of air pollution, which I've been quizzing people lately, a lot of people think it's factories. Our factories have so many regulations, they're not polluting the air anymore. The number one cause of air pollution is vehicle emissions, and the number one cause of sickness and absences from schools is asthma, which is related to air pollution. So just be on the lookout. We are doing some things in our city to alleviate some of that, where roundabouts work better because cars don't have to stop, and when they stop, they create more pollution. So we've got some roundabouts in the works, and some of that is because of the air pollution control, so things like that. I also attended a League of Cities luncheon in West Sacramento with Chris Arias and Amy Mendez, dragged them along with me. And we had a presentation by the West Sacramento City Manager, Aaron Laurel, on some of the redevelopment, and they've really done a great job with getting that to a desirable looking and area with some affordable housing. So we got to look at some of that. We also heard from Steve Coyle from the City of Woodland, who's an expert on housing. So we've got some great ideas, and hopefully we can get some apartments and things here for some of our citizens to move into soon. And then I'll talk about Walmart afterwards. All right. So now we can do consent? Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. So consent calendar. Oh, we pulled 4 from the consent calendar. Award contract G3 Engineering Incorporated for smart cover systems. This was pulled by Vice Mayor Farmer.
Yeah, so first, thank you, Mike, for answering all my questions. You gave me some very detailed questions and my detailed answers to my detailed questions. The only thing I wanted to bring up, which I spoke to you about, was that this is something that we really need for our lift stations because of some of the citizens may have known. We had an incident recently, and basically we need to put better protocols in place to prevent such things to happen again and from happening again. And so I'm very happy. I looked through this very thoroughly, and being kind of a tech guy, I really kind of picked it apart, and I think it's a good thing. But I wanted to just have you just quick kind of dumb it down, describe exactly what the system does, why it's going to be so helpful for us. Can you just tell us real quick, Mike?
Sure. Thanks, Vice Mayor Farmer. Yeah, essentially what we will be doing is putting in some sensors in. We have 11 lift stations, and so one of them already has one of these sensors in it. And what it does is it monitors the flow, and basically if there's any kind of an issue, it will send out an alert, and our staff will be alerted and can take appropriate action to respond. So we'll be putting these sensors in, and really, our criteria was something that's tried and true, tested, has a good, track record of performing. And the system that we're recommending has that. And then a couple other, I guess, added benefits to it is the way it communicates the information. It's through satellite versus cellular, which, is just a little bit cheaper, actually, because we don't have to do any kind of additional infrastructure as far as cell towers for poor cell reception in some of these locations. And then it has its own battery, so if there's a power failure like we had last November, we will be able to still get the information through, and our crews can respond. So, yeah, it's definitely a good thing, and nothing is ever totally bulletproof, but this is probably about as close as it gets. So.
And this backs up all the data to the cloud. You guys can access that, go back way back and look at anything you need to in the past or what's going on currently.
Correct, and it's
time,
also
right?
remotely monitored, so there's a little bit of redundancy there too, so.
Thanks for the explanation.
Absolutely.
That's all I had.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just had one comment on it. I after reading through it, I like the fact that we're building in some redundancy where we may or may not have had it in the past in terms of the power backup systems, and I think that's going to serve us well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same thing, a quick comment on this. But we're using this system is a little bit expensive than the other system. The reason we're using because we don't want to take a risk. Anything happened before, right?
That's correct, and like I was noting is if we use, well, I mean, it's like anything, you know, sometimes there's hidden costs, I guess, and so while something looks cheaper initially, and it is to construct, but then there's a unintended consequence of having to put in some additional antennas or something like that at some of the locations because there's poor cell reception, and so that's an added cost, and then we've got the ongoing maintenance for those additional antennas and stuff too. So in the end, while it's initially more expensive, it's actually cheaper in the long run. So
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more discussion? All right, can I get a motion to adopt a resolution, 1, authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with G3 Engineering Incorporated for the amount of $46,869.94 to procure and install the smart cover systems in the collection system. 2, authorizing a project contingency of $4,686. 3, approving an appropriation in the amount of $26,556 in the wastewater treatment plan budget. 4, authorizing the city manager to execute contract amendments for changes to the scope of work that does not exceed the project contingency. 5, adding G3 Engineering Incorporated smart cover systems to the solid waste source list. Systems to the sole source list, excuse me.
I make a motion.
Made by Councilmember Lozano. Can I get a second?
I will do second.
Seconded by Councilmember Sandu. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer,
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano,
Aye.
Mayor Lamson.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Regular consent calendar, I need a motion to accept the minutes as submitted, receive and file warrants for the period ending March 20th, 2019, adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the city manager to execute the side letter agreement number 1 to the Galt Public Service Unit Memorandum of Understanding, adopt a resolution approving the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting time change from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the regularly scheduled meeting held the second Wednesday of each month, and adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amended joint exercise of powers agreement related to the South Sacramento Conservation Agency.
So moved.
Do second.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano, seconded by Councilmember Sandu. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer,
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano,
Aye.
Mayor Lamson.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. So now we are moving the Parks and Recreation Department up. Mr. Solis?
Yes, Mayor and City Council. I'll be, Jackie Garcia, our Special Events Manager, will be making the next presentation for the Galt High School Every 15-Minute program. I'm sorry, did you want all 3 of the events done
Yes,
now?
yes, please.
In that order, 3, 4, and 5?
Unless you recommend a different
No,
order.
that's fine. So it'll be the Galt High Every 15-Minute program.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This evening, I would like to bring forward Galt High School's request regarding their every 15-minute program scheduled on Tuesday, April 23rd and Wednesday, April 24th. They are requesting the city to waive the fees for the street closure which may also include a Caltrans permit fee. Once Caltrans has reviewed the application, costs may be less if determined there is no permit required by Caltrans. We are recommending you consider Galt High School's request to waive fees and provide direction to staff. I believe there is a representative if you'd like to speak to them on any further questions related to the event or their request.
Did we discuss before comment? Should we? Okay, so we'll discuss it, and then we'll have Ms. Palliser. So do we have any discussion?
Yeah, so explain, so I was told that in the past that Caltrans didn't require the permit, but now there's talk that they are. What has changed?
I'd like to answer that. If we're not saying that they're requiring it, we will submit the plan. If they require a permit, then we would have to obtain one.
Okay, can you explain, just actually for me too, for anybody else, why Caltrans would have any say about us doing something in our own city limits?
I'd refer that to Public Works Director.
Yeah, Vice Mayor Farmer. So Caltrans on these types of matters, their obvious concern is impacts to operations on the freeway. And so they're going to look at it as to what, might that be at that time of day kind of thing, what their data shows as far as, number of vehicles, and determine whether or not, it's going to require an encroachment permit, where they're going to have to put out any special signage or something like that on the approach on the freeway side. We've looked at it. I've looked at it with staff on Public Works side. We think we can keep the two-way traffic going on A Street, and therefore we don't anticipate that Caltrans will require a permit. However, they have the final say, and so that's why it's, to be determined. So,
How far down on A Street is the event? Isn't it kind of down? I know that if you come off the freeway and you turn right, the ramp is very long and then it comes flat. Is it kind of up towards where the ramp descends, or is it down further?
It's down further, but basically when you're essentially changing, traffic operations, you'll have a taper. So it does require some lead distance too, so block off that area. You can't just do it abruptly, so.
So if if it ends up being that the permit is required, then the city basically would need to be covering that. Is that what we're asking for?
They're requesting that we waive all fees.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to determine that that's part of it.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Lozano?
I have a quick question, and my question is more about timing. It appears, and maybe the dates are mistyped in the staff report, but it appears that March 19th is when we received an event application for this year?
Correct.
Or was that last year?
No, it was this year. It did not comply with the city special event sponsorship, but we felt that we would bring that to council.
What was the reason?
Yeah, I appreciate that, but is there somebody here that can speak to? Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to let us have our discussion before we called her up.
Okay.
So do you have anything?
Yeah, the only thing, because the last year we don't anticipate on this cost, right?
No, this is not budgeted. You would have to budget money for this event.
But these people, they asked last year, but
No, they did not. They asked March of this year.
we don't know what was the reason they asking this year and they don't ask last year.
I would leave that up to the representative from Galt High School.
Okay, and there is one more question. These are cost by the department?
Yeah, yes, they are estimated cost by the Public Works Department to close the street and by the Galt Police Department to manage traffic.
So that's the regular cost, or that's cost including somebody call
That'll
off
be
duty or the overtime?
that would be a hard cost, as these staff members would be calling for this special event.
Thank you.
So I've been to these events many times, and the students only get a chance to have it one time in their high school career because they only allow the juniors and the seniors, and then they do it every other year at the school. So it's really a one-time thing for the students. And Ms. Powers will explain why we were so late getting this in. But it is a wonderful program. It involves the California Highway Patrol, the Galt Police Department, other entities, helicopters, morgue, the city morgue, hospitals. So it is quite an extensive program that kind of brings the reality of what we all know happens, and hoping kids will make the right choices. So if there's no more, can we have Ms. Palliser come up? This is Sonia Powisser. She is with Galt High School.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sonia Poisser. I am with the Galt High School District. I've been with them. This is my 26th year. Seen a lot of change starting at Galt High School in 1994, then going to Estrelita for 10 years, then Liberty Ranch, and now I do work at the district level with a lot of at-risk youth and work with alternative programs. So I know that you're asking about why the application was late. We had a change in our leadership last year. So we got a new superintendent last summer. When he found out that we weren't going to have it, he was questioning why. So that was why I submitted the application late. I wasn't really aware that we were supposed to go to the city, so that was why I didn't get it until late. As far as a Caltrans permit, this will be my 8th time doing this. We've never had any fees associated with a permit from Caltrans. So just for clarification, I called my CHP officer, who's a community liaison with California Highway Patrol. He says he's never seen that. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. Another expense on there is the Galt Police Department. I think part of that is our SROs. They're already working with our school district, so they are already going to be there on site anyway. I provide all the food. I provide all the lodging. I write grants for this. Kaiser is a big supporter of this. This is a huge program. I have 19 students involved. I have 4 staff members. And it's a little frustrating that I kind of feel like I have all these obstacles. I'm hearing a lot of our city folks asking for safety and projects for our youth, and this is a great program to give these kids to make positive choices in their life, to keep them safe in our community. And so when I get hindered like with fees and permits and things like that that I just don't think exist, it's a little disheartening. So I just would like the city just to take that into consideration. We've never had additional fees, and so I'm not sure where they're coming from. So, and the chief and I met, we had a logistics meeting, and I knew you were asking about where it sits. The third gate of the student parking lot on A Street is where I set the cars. The cars are as close to the entrance as I can get them, so it only blocks part of one lane. They do block off the street, but it's very far from the off-ramp to the freeway. And in the past, CAPS has been there, the volunteers have been there, so they still have 2 lanes of traffic going through, so we don't keep anybody from using A Street. The crash scene is scheduled to be around 10:10, so the cars will get set around 7 o'clock. We get the kids in there by 9:30, we're out of there by 11, and they have everything down. So just to give you an idea. And it is a 2-day program. The crash scene happens that day. They have a big, huge student retreat that night. I have the DA coming. They're actually going to go to a funeral home. They're going to check out how a body is processed. MAD comes in while the parents are here doing a student or a parent retreat at the high school. The next morning we get up, they have breakfast, and we do a whole funeral and assembly. So it is a 2-day program. The only day it impacts the city is on Tuesday of the event. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions for Ms. Powisser?
No, I just have a comment. Ms. Powisser, I hope I didn't, by me asking that, I hope I didn't insinuate.
No, not at all. I just
didn't
wanted
think
you
the
guys to understand where I was coming
Yeah.
from, so.
That I didn't think there was
Oh, no.
validity of the program. I've
Yeah.
been involved with Every 15 Minutes professionally for many, many years. And I agree. I think it's a great program. I was just, as we get our staff
Yeah.
reports.
I already did it for next year, now that I know.
And if Caltrans isn't going to be an issue, then it's, it's not a,
I will
not as
contact
big
them
deal, but-
myself, so.
Well, and, I can't imagine that somebody just said, let's think about this. Oh, well, maybe there
Yeah.
might be a Caltrans fee. I'm sure that came from somewhere, but,
Right.
I'm sure we can work that out. That's not as big of a deal. So thank you for coming
Thank you.
tonight, though, and doing all you do for kids.
Thank you.
Actually, I have a comment. Yeah, I too, I don't think our questions about where it was going to be and all that were implying
No.
like we didn't think it's a great idea. We think it's a great program. I think, if Caltrans, hits us with the permit, which is unfortunate, I don't think, the influence on one student's life is worth the $1,000 or $1,100 or whatever the permit
Right.
is. So, I mean, we're just hoping that, they would be gracious enough to not do that. But, yeah, we think it's a great program, so.
And when I did talk to the CHP, he was kind of curious about that too. So if that does happen, he wants me to take that back to California Highway Patrol because part of the grant that they give doesn't include anything like that, so they would like to be aware of that too. So they may up it next year.
So just to clarify, there's no helicopter involved in this event?
Yes.
There is?
Yes, it lands in the field and takes the
Okay,
student to Kaiser.
I thought so, but,
Yes.
but it's not listed on the vehicle on your form.
Right.
It lists 2 fire trucks and whatever, but there's no
Because
mention
the
of that.
CHP does their own. They will land.
Right, but to apply, I mean, I think we should have
And
that
it's-
added on our form. I mean,
okay.
it should, right, we should have it listed on there, that there's gonna be a helicopter.
And that's all done through Caltrans, through an actual permit, that they waive that permit.
Okay.
So I have that form if you want me to give that.
I'm just,
send that
it's
to you.
just a.
Well, I know it lands in the field. It doesn't land on any city property.
No.
I know, but it just, as it lists the event, it talks about what the event, and it lists anything, any vehicles are gonna be involved to the event. Well, clearly, a helicopter's a big deal. I think it's pretty cool, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, we should
Okay.
just make sure that's in there just for
Okay.
protocol, I think.
I can do that.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay. So can I get a motion?
I will make a motion to approve this funds.
Consider Galt High School's request to waive fees for the Every 50 Minutes program. We have a motion by Councilmember Sandu, second.
Second.
Vice Mayor Farmer.
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
I just said aye.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Lamson?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0 or 5-0. Just kidding. Okay.
Mayor Lamson?
Yes.
Do we need to distinguish what fund that'll be charged to? Would it be our special event fund?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to get,
Kimberly?
You can just amend, we can just note in the minutes that the fund will be the special event fund.
Okay.
thank you.
All right, next we have the City of Galt Special Event Sponsorship Program Review for fiscal year 2018-19.
Hello again. Tonight, I will be presenting to you the Special Event Sponsorship Program Review and Funding Sheets for 18-19 fiscal year. In 2017, the City of Galt approved the Special Event Program, Sponsorship Program. The approved Special Event Sponsorship Program was to set forth guidelines and criteria governing the granting of issuance of City of Galt funds or in-kind services for the purposes of supporting local festivals, special events, community projects of programs. With this, the City Council approved 11 special events. Those special events included the Chamber Food Truck Event, Tiny Smiles Run, Shop Local Extravaganza, Shamrock Festival, Galtoberfest, Galt Street Fair, Galt Summer Vendor Fair, Galt High School Homecoming Parade, Liberty Ranch High School Homecoming Parade, Galt FFA Farm to Fork Dinner, and Vet Stock. Provided is the special event cost projections and actual hard cost of events approved. Chamber Food Truck Event, there was no cost because it was on the promenade access. Tiny Smiles Run was estimated hard cost was $4,100. The actual hard cost was $41,8960. Chamber and Shop Local Extravaganza was $21,90 estimated, and that is still pending due to the event not taking place until April 13th. Liberty Ranch High School Homecoming Parade estimated was $1,020, and the actual was $739.84. Shamrock Festival was $21.90 estimated, and that event was canceled, and the money was allocated to the City Banner Program. Galtoberfest was relocated to the Littleton Center. The estimated hard cost was $35.50, and the actual was $175. Galt High School Homecoming Parade was $1,020, and actual hard cost was $872.98. Vet Stock was $3,500, and the actual was $3,500. The Galt Street Fair was $21.90, and that was canceled. Again, the money was allocated to the City Banner Program. The Summer Vendor Fair was canceled, and Galt FFA Farm to Fork Dinner was $18.80, and the actual was $864.84.
and may I note the banner program she's speaking of is the 150-year banner program, not the military banner program.
Okay.
It was dedicated to that. And the reason for the Galt FFA Farm to Fork is that we were able to negotiate them relocating to the promenade. There was no street closures in that event.
Wonderful.
Also, if you'd like more details on special event costs, please refer to the funding sheets included in the staff report. Those funding sheets were submitted by the event organizers, and numbers provided were by the organizations. So total overall expenses were captured by the following. Reduction in hard costs. Shamrock Festival was canceled. Again, Galtoberfest was relocated to Littleton Center, and Galt Street Fair was canceled, and one sponsored event has not taken place. The hard staff would include the staff time worked other than their regular schedule, any materials requested such as trash bags. Facility rentals, again, are not considered hard cost. In addition to managers or mid-managers, since we are exempt employees, that isn't included. So the actual hard cost was the $10,342.26, and again, that's pending based on the upcoming events that are still in. Oh, any questions?
So I'm trying to find this on my staff report, but so our hard costs are coming in under, are estimated by like half, with the exception of the one event that hasn't happened. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So the one that hasn't happened is the extravaganza, and that's like $2,000 some, $2,100 or something.
We estimated $2,190.
So can't really read that. So it'd be about 12,000, 13,000 or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Around.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Councilmember Lozano or Sandu, any discussion?
No, thank you.
All right.
Nope.
Do I need a motion this, Kimberly? Okay. All right, thank you. Now, we have the City of Galt Special Event Sponsorship Program preview for the fiscal year 2019-20.
Okay. All right. In 2017, the City Council approved the special event policy. The goals and objectives for this policy was to promote the City of Galt as a desirable place to live, visit, and do business, promote the City of Galt as a visitor destination or bring tourism associated revenue to the city, enhance the quality of life and well-being of the citizenry, advance the city's commitment to and pride in being a multicultural community, encourage the development of neighborhood identity and pride, and promote cultural and artistic awareness among the citizenry. Aligns with the City of Galt mission statement or strategic plan. At the April 16th City Council meeting, City Council will review and provide direction to staff regarding the special events on monetary amounts and in-kind contributions. Provided is an overall view of the applications received at the time. At this time, I will provide a few highlighted details of each event, and after my brief presentation, I will have a representative from this list order come up and speak on their event's behalf. Club Prime Volleyball Tournament is location Galt Community Park, July 14th. It's a free community event with expecting 200 attendees. The estimated soft cost would be $532.64, which would include the rental of the pavilion and 8 hours of park maintenance costs to service restrooms in the sand area. Galt Chamber of Commerce Food Truck Mania. It's the 4th Street Promenade, first Saturday of each month. It's a free community event. Expecting 200, there is no hard cost or soft cost for this. Galt Chamber of Commerce Balloon Festival. It's using Galt Market Grounds, August 10th and 11th, and it's free parking and shuttle for the event. Expecting about 200 with the city hard cost of $25 and city soft cost $54.08. The hard cost would include the restroom supplies, and soft cost would be 1 hour of park maintenance cost to service restrooms. Galt Chamber Extravaganza is on 4th Street between B and D, which is April 4th, 2020, a free community event, and it's actually 2,000 people. It's $21.90 for hard cost, and the staff time, the hard cost would include staff time worked other than regular schedule, and any materials requested such as trash bags. The Military Convoy Centennial is on 4th Street, September 13th of this year, free community event. Expecting 200, and city hard cost is none, and there's no soft cost. The Galt Sesquicentennial Celebration, sorry, 4th Street, and it's between A Street and E Street, and C Street between 4th and 5th. It's September 14th of this year, a free community event, and I believe that's 2,000 as well, and it's $21.90 for hard cost. Staff time worked is other than the regular schedule, and any materials requested such as trash bags. Liberty Ranch Homecoming Parade is a city street closure, and I believe that is, the date is still pending. It's a free community event. It's 500 attendees, and the city hard cost is 800. 800. Staff time worked other than regular schedule, and it's based on their 2000 event service cost. Galt FFA Ag Boosters Farm to Fork Dinner is on 4th Street Promenade, September 21st of this year. It's a ticketed event, expecting 400. Their estimated hard cost is 900. Again, it's staff time worked other than the regular schedule. Any materials requested, such as trash bags, and that, again, is based on their 2000 event service cost. Vet Track Project, Vetstock Festival, is at Veterans Field, September 21st of this year. It's a ticketed event and expecting 1,500 people. The cost that they are requesting is $5,000. It would include staff time worked other than the regular schedule and any materials requested, such as trash bags. Galt High School Homecoming Parade is city street closures, October 4th. It's a free community event, expecting 200. City hard cost would be 900. And staff time worked other than their regular schedule, and again, that's based on their 2018 service cost. Tiny Smiles Run is Littleton Community Center and city street closures, February 8th, 2020. Participation, there is a registration fee, 1,500 attendees, $4,200 in hard costs, and soft costs would be $600. Hard costs would include staff time worked other than their regular schedule, and again, it's based on their 2018 service cost. Again, its soft costs would include rental of Littleton Center. The Galt Beautification Committee and Community of Character Coalition, which is Earth Day, they're requesting community park and city street closures. It's April 18th of 2020. It's a free community event, 1,000 attendees, and the city hard cost is $1,500, which is any materials requested, such as trash bags, and staff time worked other than the regular schedule. The Kiwanis Club of Galt 5K Fun Run, community park and city streets they're requesting, May 15th and 16th of 2020. Free community event, expecting 200, and the hard cost would be $1,479.64. It would be staff time worked other than the regular schedule. Any materials requested, such as trash bags, and they are requesting for us to pay for their event insurance. Galt Joint Union High School every 15 minutes. The location is the city street closure. The date is to be determined. It's a free community event, expecting 550 people, and the city hard cost would be $2,050. And again, that would be the staff time worked other than the regular schedule. Galt Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with the city-sponsored event, which is the Christmas Vendor Fair and Food Truck Mania. That's 4th Street between B and D, December 7th of this year, free community event, expecting 1,500 people, and there is no hard cost or city cost. It's in-kind, part of city lighting of the night celebration. Galt Sunrise Rotary Community Dinner, Littleton Community Center, they're requesting December 14th. It's a free community event. 1,500 attendees. There is no hard cost or city soft cost. So, again, this slide will provide you amounts of requested sponsored. Some of these event sponsorships were based on similar past events, actual needs, or organizers requested on application. Also, estimates may change based on factors not known, like type of band or change of venue. At this time, this would be a great opportunity for the organizations to come up and speak with you directly and provide the benefits of their organization and event for the community. And then this will also allow the council an opportunity to ask any questions they may have and an opportunity to digest all the submitted event details and requests. So I will now go ahead and bring up the organization in the following list order and provide them at least 2 to 3 minutes to speak. So I'd like to call up Galt Chamber, if Gail's here.
And while Gail's coming up, I just want to reiterate the fact that these are all estimates determined on, if anything changes from the special event. Some of them have been yet to be determined information. So these are estimates the best we can.
Good evening, Council. My name is Gail Weber, and I'm actually going to be speaking on 5 of the events that are up there. The first one is the Galt Food Truck Mania. It is the first Saturday of each month. It is with the Galt Chamber of Commerce. It is going into its 4th year, and the Galt Food Truck Mania has become a favorite Saturday night event, especially in the warmer weather. This event draws people into Old Town, which in turn introduces them to the existing and new businesses that are opening up. We are asking to have the parking spaces on the west side of 4th Street between B and C Street designated no parking from 2:30 to 8 p.m. during these events. The next one to talk, I'm kind of going in the order that they're going to happen during the year. The second event I'm going to talk about is the 3rd annual Club Prime Volleyball Tournament and the Red Spike and Blue CSD versus Galt PD Sand Volleyball Tournament. This will happen, this is time for the chief to redeem himself.
I get to take a little bit of her time. I don't think the fire department should be able to play this year.
Okay. Especially when they bring in ringers from Elk Grove. We're actually requesting July 14th, but also the morning of July 13th to prep the course and to just clean up stuff and everything for the sand volleyball. This is a free family event that brings people into Galt Community Park. It also introduces the sport of sand volleyball to the community. 10 teams will be competing in sand volleyball. We will have food vendors, shop local vendors, and the annual Goodwill game between Galt PD and Consumnes Fire. Money raised will go towards lowering the cost of participation in Club Prime Volleyball, which is a local nonprofit. The main event is on Sunday, July 14th. We also request use of the volleyball area on Saturday for prep and practice. We request that the circle in front of the gazebo be blocked off for the food vendors and for use of the gazebo during the Sunday event. Vendors will set up on the lawn around the volleyball and the playground area. The next event is the 2nd annual Galt Balloon Festival, which is August 10th and 11th. This is put on by the Galt Chamber of Commerce. In 2017, this event drew between 2,000 and 3,000 people each day to McFarland Ranch to watch hot air balloons take off over the skies of early morning Galt. We had 8 balloons in 2017. We're anticipating 12 this year. Approximately 1,200 people each day utilized the Galt Market grounds, parking lots, and shuttle service. People came from 2 to 4 hours away for this event. Many ate and purchased gas or shopped while in Galt. Several booked rooms in our local hotels. We are asking permission to again use the Galt Market grounds parking lots as a satellite lot. We will be contracting with Galt Joint Unified School District for bus service. We would like the east side of Chabola Avenue across from Parks and Rec office have signs placed that indicate bus parking only. We also ask that the bathroom in Veterans Field be unlocked at 4 a.m. Lighting of the Night, which is a shop local vendor event also put on by the Galt Chamber. That is December 7th. This event allows local vendors to set up in F&M Bank's parking lot during the City of Galt's Lighting of the Night event and parade. This event draws people into town a little earlier than the city's scheduled events for the night. It adds to the whole event. We are asking for signs placed in F&M Bank's parking lot designating no parking from 1:30 to 9 p.m. the day of the event. F&M Bank does not charge to use the parking lot. They just ask for proof of insurance, which the chamber provides, and for the parking lot to be left clean. The 11th annual Galt Extravaganza, oh my God, 11 years, April 4th, 2020. This free family event has become a staple in Galt. The day is filled with free Easter egg hunt, free pictures with the Easter Bunny, egg drop, the parade, youth commission pancake breakfast, a car show, food truck, and vendors. This draws approximately about 2,000 people to the Old Town area. That's the 5 that I'm in charge of. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Anybody?
These are all pretty staple events that we've had in the oncoming years. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is it all right if we call Tiny Smiles next? I know there's a little bit of a hardship. Needs to get out of here. So you can go next if you want. You need to.
Hi, my name is Rick Kieser. I am the president and co-founder of Tiny Smiles. We raise money and awareness for children with congenital heart defects. In the Chiefs' defense of volleyball, they don't get to practice like firefighters do. So, you know, they shouldn't be allowed to practice this year.
And recruited at Sac State for all the volleyball players from Sac State.
Awesome. I want to thank Vetstock for showing up because they asked for more money than I did, which barely, but I'm thankful that they're here. And we only have about 500 people, so I don't know where the 1,500 came from. I would love to have 1,500 people show up to our event, but that was a typo either on my treasurer's application or when it got printed up. But we have been blessed to support families over the last 8 years with kids with congenital heart defects. Our son was born in 2011 without his left ventricle, lived 6 months, and died December 27th of 2011. Shortly thereafter, we started this fundraiser to raise money to support the staff and the families that work with these kiddos or live with these kiddos. And unfortunately, there have been a number of families that have come from Galt that we've been able to support. One of the other things that we've been able to do is put an AED in the Littleton Center, or it's at the Cibola Center. I have a second one that was donated this year that will go somewhere in the city of Galt, and then we have put 2 in another city where, unfortunately, a firefighter died at our event. And so where his daughters go to high school is where we've been able to put 2 others. So we've raised about $10,000 just in AEDs that hopefully will never be used, but if they do, the likelihood of saving somebody's life is very high. So anyhow, that's tiny. This will be our 8th year, probably our last. It's a lot of work, but we've been very blessed, and thank you guys. Wasn't most of you, but thanks for all your support over the years.
And thank you for your community support, too.
I just have a comment and not a question. Rick, I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but as I was watching the registration for this year's event, I noticed that about a week and a half out, there were about 90% of your registrants that stated they were from out of the area. And that is an absolute blessing to have folks come into our area, use our facilities, go to our restaurants, stay in our area, and really get to experience Galt for the great place that it is. And it's your event that brings that large amount of people into our community. I really appreciate everything you guys do. Gail, I also appreciate everything you do. I didn't mean, but I wanted to just
Not as much.
Not as much. I
Just kidding, Gail.
I wanted to point out that when I was looking at your event, that really kind of caught me by surprise, and it's really truly a blessing to have that many folks from outside the area come in and
Thank you.
and experience our great community.
It is a fantastic place to have a running event because for the most part it's flat, which is great for runners. It would be a great place for cycling events. The majority of our runners do come from out of town, especially for my half marathon and 10K race, because there just aren't a lot of races in February, which is a difficult time to have a race because a lot of people will wait till that last moment to register. If it's a nice day, they're going to show up. If it's not a nice day, like this year, the numbers tend to go down. It is rumored somebody has moved here from Galt because of our race. I have yet to locate that person, but somebody told me that last year right before I spoke as well. So hopefully that's true. And I've also been told hotels have filled up, and I'm not an expert on that, but maybe somebody could speak to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you. This is a very good program. The people bringing from outside to the city of Galt. And that's why we are family-oriented people live there, and that's a good program.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
So now we'll go ahead and bring up Bonnie.
Bonnie Rodriguez. This one's on there.
Bonnie Rodriguez with the Chamber of Commerce. I need to ask a question really quick of an audience member. Janet, are you guys here for the convoy? No? Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and speak about the convoy. So the military convoy, I think you've all have heard, they are reenacting a military march coming from Washington, D.C., coming across the U.S., and will come through Galt. They have committed to spending 2 hours with us here in Galt down on 4th Street. So we're hoping to be able to push all of that onto the parking lots down there and the promenade, tomato. We actually have several of our local restaurants who have committed to help feed this convoy when they come in. So the number, just out of warning, they're bringing 170 people themselves. So I'm hoping more than 30 Galt people show up. So we may have quite a few more people down there. Just to give you an idea, I do know that since it is a Friday and most likely during school, that Valley Oaks Elementary, who is within walking distance, they may bring some classes down for a walking field trip. It depends, again, how the time that the convoy is there. So that's the first one, and hopefully won't be too time-consuming, because obviously the next day we're celebrating Galt, and that's the sesquicentennial. It took me a long time to be able to say it. And so we are anticipating we want the whole city to come down. So we're hoping, 25,000 come down. Just don't tell the chief. So, but we encourage everyone to come down. We're still in the planning stages, but there are some really good things being planned for it. It's going to be really exciting. The committee, we're still fundraising for the event. Obviously, our banner program was, it just blew us all away how the great response that we had. We still need to do fundraising, and we want the city to be united. And so one of the fundraising projects that we have going on, which will debut at the extravaganza, is we have some T-shirts and hats with a beautiful, I don't know what camera is on, but with a beautiful logo going on. So these will be for sale, and the chamber does have them right now, so they are for sale. So we have 3 different colors for the T-shirts, blue, tan, and a heather gray of all sizes. We're hoping the town is just all walking around with this logo. We have other great fundraising mechanisms. So people out there, watch for these special commemorative objects or memorabilia that's going to come out. We're pretty excited about it, and we just really want the town to unite and celebrate with us. So, do you have any questions?
Yeah, what's the date?
The actual date is September 14th.
What's the date of the next? So the committee meets every 2 weeks?
About every 2 weeks, and I don't have my phone with me to look at the date.
Still looking for volunteers?
I think it's 8. Yeah, we still are looking for volunteers and ideas. If anybody out there would like to participate or has a great connection to whatever, or wants to, be a street performer, but in a good way, we are looking for people to help and make this a great event. I'm sorry.
How much for the hats and shirts?
Oh, so the hats are $15. And the T-shirts are $15, and then we do have extended sizes that are a little bit more. But there will be more T-shirts and different designs and stuff coming out too. So like I said, we're going to have enough for 25,000 people to be wearing around Galt.
And where can they get those right
You
now?
can get them at the chamber. Right now, you can call or come in, and we have them, these right now stacked. Or you can get them at the extravaganza. We'll have a booth. The chamber will have a booth to sell the T-shirts.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
So I believe Liberty Ranch, Homecoming Parade, and Farm to Fork, we were not able to get a hold of them, so they don't have a representative here tonight. So we will move on to Vets Talk with Eric.
Dana here.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor Farmer, council members, men and women of Galt. I'm going to give you 3 numbers, 22, 6, and 3. 22 veterans killed themselves a day. 6, because of the city of Galt, 6 veterans didn't kill themselves last year because of Vet Tracks Festival or Vet Stock Festival. It's been renamed a Vet Tracks Festival because of legal reasons. Third, or the number 3, that's the 3rd year we've done this. I'm a 20-year retiree, 100% disabled veteran. I work at the VA. I'm in 2 bands. I run an organization. I run a recording studio for disabled veterans. I have 10 work days in a 7-workday week. I'm tired. Because of you guys, I have been busy since September. I haven't had a break. And I thank you for that. Because it's hard to brag about 6 people when 1 life is too much, because of the donation by everybody and all the performers and participants that attended last year. We had a gentleman a 17-year-old from the Dr. T.J. Owens Gilroy Early College Academy picked me as a mentor about PTSD and what it does for veterans. Granted, PTSD affects everybody, but if you've never experienced somebody hurting themselves, killing themselves, it's hard to deal with. Music is a universal language. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is. It's a heartbeat. It's what makes us move. We all, you sing and praise and dance. Music is the same way. This year we have a country band, the Terry Sheets Band. They're really good, and a lot of people know of them. The $5,000, yeah, it's a lot. I'm so sorry, but it costs $35,000 to put this organization on it. I don't make that much money, but I rely heavily on sponsors, and it's not that I'm asking for cash, not at all. It's just to help offset all the fees with the law enforcement, and it's less than that, but I don't have the contract yet with the city of Galt because I haven't given my stuff to Jackie yet, all the specifications. But we have met with the Parks and Rec department numerous times. We had people from New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Ventura, all the surrounding areas of Sacramento Metroplex come into this event. 843, give or take, were there. We had Thomas Flowers from Oleander, Chris Voles from Flaw. These were national acts. These guys, back in their heyday, cost $40,000, $60,000 just to play for 30 minutes. And they were here in our city. I love this city. And it would mean the world to me if you guys would approve the sponsorship, because it does help me. Because the one thing I can't do is shut my organization down, because I thrive, or my organization thrives off donations. We do music events, little festivals at like the Boardwalk or Ace of Spades. My band, Failure by Proxy, we donate all of our money. We made like $1,200 one weekend. We give that all back to my organization because we want it to continue. And again, I thank you. And this is Chuck. Did you want to?
I'm actually I'm a guitar player with Eric in one of his bands, and I've been part of the Vest Talk Festival several times. I now work with this company, the Vet Tracks, and being able to help veterans, being able to put my talents to use. I was given the ability to play music for free when I was a young child. We couldn't afford lessons, and my band teacher took me on, and he gave me lessons, and I learned music, and now I'm able to give lessons to veterans that want to learn how to play. I donate my time. I work with Eric about 20 hours a week outside of all of the things that we do. And so I want to stress to you the difference. There's therapy for a lot of people, and some things just don't work, and music does for some. And to see people light up when they learn how to play one chord, or you help them write a song, or whatever the case is, but we're able to help people. And this event is kind of a celebration of being able to do that, as well as being able to raise money to try to keep us going through, the next calendar year. And then, of course, the return is that we're hoping that the city of Galt gets seen in another light. We bring in some strangers, they get to hang out, and I gotta tell you, when I first met this guy a few years ago, he's like, come out to my house in Galt. And I'm like, that's too far away, I don't wanna do it. And, because I live in Sacramento, and it's not, it's you get here quick, and I like it down here. It's really nice, it's really quiet, it's really peaceful. It's not Sacramento, I'll tell you that. It's nice. So, and we wanna keep that going. We wanna be a part of that.
Were there any questions did you have for us?
Do we have any questions?
I just comment. I'm glad to hear that you mentioned a country band this year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it's important too, and people love all genres of music. I think what I would see to make this event every year just progress and be more successful would be to have totally different genres. So you can have veterans of all ages,
Understood.
Just veterans, but then also folks of all ages. Know when their certain band or whatever can play and they can show up. So I think just to make it more appealing to the broader, be something to consider. So thank you for doing this, guys.
The one thing I wanted to say before I left was a lot of times when you go to festivals, and I know I'm over my time, but a lot of times you don't see the organizer go around and shake everybody's hand. I made sure to do that, and oh my gosh, we have so many veterans in the community of Galt. I love it. The lack of participants or attendees fell on my bad, or on my fault, because I didn't have a good marketing plan. This year we do. We've worked with Intercom, which I guess is all the major radio stations here. We've got a nice package deal that, again, asking for the 5,000 helps offset all my other costs that I've got to incur, because, I mean, permit fees, nothing's free in this life, and I wish it was, but again, I apologize for asking for the most amount. I mean,
We're on a small learning curve, though. We're trying to get better every year, and we're working on that.
and it deserves to be at Veterans Field. I mean, you know, in my mind, and I just thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we appreciate everything you do for the veterans, and I know this comes probably out of your healing.
Yes, ma'am.
So you help others to heal, and there really isn't enough out there for veterans, and we have a few things going on in town, but this is huge.
Yes, ma'am.
For veterans, so we really thank you for all the time and everything you do for this.
Thank you for being part of it.
Eric,
I like the guitar in the Parks and Rec.
That's
that was awesome.
Eric, I just have a comment real quick. I agree with Vice Mayor Farmer that the more genres we can get, I think the better. However, I will say I like last year. I was out there.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. Oleander was just awesome.
I'm the guy that wears the mask.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Makeup, so.
Rich is an ex-headbanger.
Yeah, so.
Nice, okay.
Anyhow, great job, and it does bring the community together, and you know, it was very well attended, and we appreciate you, everything you do for the veterans here.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
So now I will call up Barbara Payne for the Earth Day Festival.
Good evening, once again. And for any of you that don't know what the Community of Character Coalition is, I brought a brochure, if you share it, please. The Beautification Committee really has the heart to want to do this. Whether you know it or not, we've spent quite a few weekends with just volunteers in the community coming out to pick up litter, trash. And we don't mind doing it, but we'd like to try to make an impression in the future to sort of do away with the need for us to come out and pick up trash. So we're proposing Earth Day for next year, and the title is going to be, or the theme is going to be, appreciating and respecting the natural world. So in addition to being concerned about the litter, it's going to encompass a bunch more than that. And because the Beautification Committee is made up of 5 people, we're partnering with the Community of Character Coalition. I think it's interesting because at their meeting, we decided we were going to figure out what we want to do for our project this upcoming year. In the past, we've always done the Heritage Festival. So someone said, I'd like to do Earth Day. And as it turned out, having been also being on the Beautification Committee, I'm like, hey, let's partner together. Our 5 and your 25 can maybe make this event successful. So what some of the ideas we have is we want to promote outdoor activities. We even thought it would be fun to have a yoga instructor come and do part of the event. We want to stress save the air and the water, maybe have a bicycle rodeo again to encourage people to do outdoor activities. Learn about watering wisely. In other words, using a drip system, and maybe even have a rain garden on display. Of course, we want to talk about recycle, repair, and reuse. We wanted to do it this year, but because we wanted to have such a big festival, we decided to wait and do it next year. But Starbucks got hold of the idea that we were going to try and do it this year, and they volunteered to bring 20 of their district managers to come this year to kind of get us started to clean up the creek and the parks. So we'll be doing that on a very, a much smaller basis. Some of the other things we want to educate is to get people to unplug their TV, close their garage door, and get outside. Also, while you're unplugging, unplug the utilities, because every toaster that you have plugged in, it's using electricity. A lot of this is going to be educational, but we also want to have music, maybe even something from the Woodstock age, because this is the era that sort of gave birth to Earth Day. So it'd be fun to have some good music. We want to have a kids program for sure, a kids area. And one of the reasons that we think that we'll have a big turnout is because we really want this to be a family affair. We want the kids to come out and learn. Hopefully, if the adults haven't learned to not throw out the litter and stuff like that, the kids will teach them, because sometimes that's the way it goes. Let's see, maybe have kite flying, get the kids outdoors. But basically, we want to have an environmental education program. We want to invite all the nonprofits, maybe even encourage a plant-based cuisine. I'm not talking very well tonight. I could never be a vegan, but it would be fun to introduce it to others and have some vegan recipes. I'm from Texas. I got to have my steak. Let's see, what else do we have on our list? We thought it would be a really good idea to invite one of the dealerships to bring their electric cars to put on display. Maybe even get our commuter bus that we have that goes from Galt into downtown Sacramento to show how we're saving the air. Let's see, we haven't done this before, but we think that it is an opportunity to really make a difference in the future. And other cities in Sacramento County have been doing this for a few years. So I think it's time for Galt to get involved. I don't think we'll have to shut any streets. I just included it in my budget for security purposes for that many people. I noticed it said we would shut down streets, but I don't think we need to. So do you have any questions for me?
Sounds really exciting.
Good. I think we really want this to be a fun festival. I mean, picking up litter is fun, but this should be more fun. So if you have no questions, okay, thank you.
Now I'd like to call up Charlene Miller for the Kiwanis 5K run.
Good evening. To start off with, my husband is a firefighter, so they do fight fires. They don't just practice and play sports all day. Cal Fire, they work hard.
I don't think the chief said that.
So good evening. My name is Charlene Miller. I am a 31-year resident of Galt and currently the vice president of the Kiwanis Club of Galt. I am joined by the president, secretary treasurer, and several members to represent the Kiwanis Club for the special event sponsorship program. Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. The Kiwanis Club of Galt was established on June 2nd, 1992. In 2017, we celebrated our 25th anniversary in Galt by hosting a social for past and present members and also invited local officials. For nearly 27 years, our club has been supporting families and contributing to the Galt community and surrounding areas. During the course of our existence, we have provided service to thousands of children and their families and donated nearly $150,000 through various service projects, activities, and causes. Our volunteer hours number well over 4,000. We have sponsored free lunch and entrance to the Galt Aquatic Center, dog shows at the Kiwanis Spark Park, fall festivals at McFarland Ranch, back-to-school shopping sprees for local children at the Walmart in Galt, and purchased Christmas gifts for area families. Last Christmas, our club members adopted 15 families, which consisted of 34 adults and 42 children, ranging in age from newborn to 17 years old. The Kiwanis Club also purchased the windmill at McFarland Ranch, art supplies for the Winter Bird Festival, the marquee, children's furniture, and the seed cabinet at the Marion Lawrence Library. In addition, we have given scholarships to Key Club students from Galt High School and Liberty Ranch High School. We have donated to Galt Elementary Schools and to the school district's service learning programs. Our club supports the Kiwanis Family House, which is located on the grounds of the UC Davis Medical Center in Sacramento, where several Galt and Ocampo families have stayed for no fee while their children were in the hospital. Our annual budget is $6,000, all of which goes back to our community in some way. As such, we greatly appreciate your consideration for the special event sponsorship program. With your generous contribution, our club will organize a 5K fun run walk entitled Kids Need Kiwanis in May of 2020. The purpose of this fundraiser is to meet the needs of underprivileged youths in Galt by expanding the club's ability to provide for more families during our annual service projects. The event will also accomplish the following 3 goals and objectives, which are promote the city of Galt as a desirable place to live, visit, and do business, enhance the quality of life and well-being of the citizenry, and encourage the development of neighborhood identity and pride. Overall, the event will benefit Galt by investing in the children from our local elementary, middle, and high schools who are the future of Galt. The event will promote Galt by building community support and camaraderie, as well as promote health, wellness, and fitness. In conclusion, without the sponsorship program, the Kiwanis Club of Galt would not be able to afford the 5K event, and subsequently, our club would be unable to raise funds for our current and future service projects. This would result in the following: fewer children with new school clothes and school supplies, fewer families with Christmas gifts, fewer scholarships for graduating seniors, and fewer donations for school programs. It would mean that our club would be unable to fund dental work for a child, purchase coats, pay a SMUD bill for a local family, or help with a variety of other needs and requests that find their way to our club. Thank you for your time and for listening to how the Kiwanis Club of Galt has supported this city. In turn, we hope you will help us serve the little children of this great American little town.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Becca from Galt High School won't be here, so we don't have a representative from them. And then every 15 minutes, I believe, Sonia.
So I have a question about that. We just approved the one for Galt High School. This one will be taking place at Liberty Ranch, correct?
Yes.
So why doesn't it say Liberty Ranch?
It said Galt High School District.
It doesn't say district.
It is what is the way the application came in.
Okay. So just maybe a little clarification. So it shows that it's at Liberty Ranch.
Yep. So I believe Sonia is not here, so we already provided the information, and that's it. So is there any questions?
So I have. I guess we're calling Grace Mawson from Sunrise Rotary.
Sorry about that. Mayor Lamson, members of City Council, I'm Grace Mawson, a member of the Galt Sunrise Rotary. We have requested a special event sponsorship for our community dinner, which is going to be held on December 14th, 2019. This would be the 9th year that we have done this to serve the Galt community. This event enhances the quality of life and the well-being of the citizens, can't pronounce that, citizenry, as is in your rules and regulations policy. In 2010, the first dinner we had served 350 people. Over the years, it has grown considerably. Last year, we served 1,500 people and delivered 300 hot meals to our senior citizens and those unable to get to the Civic Center. Individuals are given the opportunity to visit and socialize with their neighbors and members of the community. Civic leaders are invited to serve and mingle with the citizens. In addition, all the food is donated locally from Save Mart, Rayleigh's, and various other local businesses. In addition, if anything needs to be purchased, they are purchased through the same entities. We prepare a full holiday meal: turkey, stuffing, cranberries, string beans, mashed potatoes, gravy, pie, and of course, Santa Claus. Throughout the year, Galt Sunrise Rotary donates thousands of dollars back to the community. And just last night, I was going over the budget. In 2017-18, we donated $10,000 back to the community, and this year so far, this fiscal year, $7,000 back to the community. The individual persons or groups that we have donated to volunteer their time and services for the event, including the Scouts, scholarship recipients. We are part of the Galt High School Liberty Ranch Community Service recipients. When they volunteer for us, we fill out their forms for their requirements. Elementary youth who want to help, and a lot of parents. This event brings the community together. Do you have any questions for me? I know a lot of you have served and been there and helped serve. I appreciate all your help. And
I don't have any
throughout the
questions. I
year.
just have a comment, though. It's a great event. It's awesome. I have been twice, I believe,
Yes.
and all I know is this year, Public Works is not in charge of mashed potatoes because it just slowed up the whole progress. So maybe we gotta put you on something else, like gravy or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's a cool event.
We went through
crazy how many people make that happen. So
We went through 10 cases of cranberries, 95 turkeys, about 10, 15 batches of mashed potatoes, a huge pot of gravy. And when we do the takeouts, instead of pie, because it can be messy, a lady actually baked all of the cupcakes that went to the senior citizens and whomever were delivered meals to. It's a great event. It's a long event. We're up there at 5 in the morning till 4, and then any food that is left over, we donate to the different board and care homes here in town, and canned goods we give to the food closets, so it goes back into the community.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else?
thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
That's off to Rotary for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Jackie, I do have a couple more public comments from Coach Anthony Linebaugh and Athena Buchanan on something for one of their special events that I know. They had a little- We'll let Coach Linebaugh go, and then Athena, if you want to be on deck.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you to Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, everyone that's still here with us. Appreciate the opportunity. So we have an application for our Hawk Stadium run. We want to thank the city for their generous sponsorship in 2017. We didn't make the deadline last year, and then this year there was a miscommunication. We missed it by actually 1 business day, or 2 business days. So basically, our fun run is ran by our boosters program. Every dollar that's earned through the run goes towards scholarships. So in the past, we've been on average able to award $4,000 in scholarships on a yearly basis. I believe last year we did 3,000. But previous years have been 4,000, and so it's been a tremendous. This is the major fundraiser for that. Every dollar that goes, that's raised, goes towards that, and we encourage this, student athletes, every student on campus to be involved, every sport team to be involved in terms of just getting involved and either running themselves or encouraging others. This year, we're actually very excited that we're expanding it. Safe and Sober is going to have a pancake breakfast before for raising money towards the Safe and Sober program. And then our agricultural department will have the first farmers market that we've never done that before as part of the 5K. And speaking for my colleagues, I want to say thank you for your support with our homecoming parade and also Farm to Fork. It's a tremendous fundraiser, so thank you very much for your consideration for those avenues. So we were looking to expand it. We want it to be a great, event. Not everybody, wants to run, but just to have people out there. Farmers Market's going to be a free event, and the vendors won't be charged anything, and so we're just trying to encourage people to come. And so we appreciate your consideration on that. And I also wanted to let the council know about a very exciting event. It's coming to Liberty Ranch High School, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. The first Unified Sports event for Galt will be coming. Unified Sports is a partnership between Special Olympics and local high schools. So basically how it works is you have, you choose a sporting event, and you have teams that compete, usually a high school versus another high school. Teams are comprised of gen ed students and students with special needs, and they compete against another high school. We didn't have enough students from Galt High School, so it's going to be a green-white game. But we will have students from Galt High School participating, and that's going to be April the 11th, 5:30 to 6:30. And our kids have been practicing. It's going to be great. A lot of the students are not necessarily playing. They're involved in a lot of different avenues. One student's doing announcements, equipment. One student is part of a halftime band. We have a halftime dance with students with special needs, with gen ed students, and it's going to be a great time. It's a free event. We'll have the band there. Good Day Sacramento will be coming to one of our practices next Tuesday to do a little feature on this. And it's something that's been involved, like Rockland Unified. They've been doing it for 5 years. Lodi Unified has like a unified sports league during lunchtime. So it's happening in and around our area. I heard the presentation on unified sports a couple of years ago. So it's been a lot of work to kind of get to this point. We're hoping next year to expand to 2 events, possibly to have 1 event before our homecoming. So thank you very much, too, for your support for both Galt High School and Liberty Ranch High School for the homecoming parade. That's always a big event. So I hope that all of you can come 5:30 April the 11th to the Hawks Nest, where we'll have our first annual Green White game. And thank you for your consideration, too. Thank you.
Thank you. And you are the head football coach, correct, also? And the athletic director?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and a teacher. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Athena Buchanan, the Liberty Ranch Boosters president this year. And like spoken before, leadership switched last year to this year, and this is the first time that I've been in the role of president for the Boosters. So it's been a learning curve year for myself. The miscommunication was between Coach Linebaugh and myself for the application not being turned in on time. And I was here this evening to ask that you would mercifully consider the greatness of this walk and run for the Liberty Ranch students. It was advised that if I came and sought this, that perhaps you would give me a listening ear, so I appreciate that. After sitting here, though, I do have a couple questions. I don't want to repeat anything that Coach Linebaugh said, but I wanted to ask, is there already a budget for special events for 2020?
We're working on that budget now, that's why.
Okay, so you're working on that, so there's not a hard number already set forth.
Correct.
And then the second thing is, what happens to monies that are allocated but then not used from the previous year for special events?
So, would you like to answer that? Ms.
Great question. These events, I believe, are part of general fund, which means that the general fund, any unspent budgets, if they're not appropriated forward into the new year based on an encumbrance, basically an already set commitment, then they become part of that general fund reserve balance.
Okay. Is there talk, or has there been talk regarding the budget for the 2020 year and whether it would be generally the same, or is it usually the same, or are there years that are much more or much less?
I can answer that. This is only the second year we've had this program. What we're doing today is they're previewing. They'll be making a decision next council meeting onto the dollar amount that they'll be approving, if they'll be approving. So last year we estimated about $20,000. This year you see it's about $22,000.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I did see that. And then the actual amount that was actually used last year was $10,342.
But one event hasn't happened.
I'm sorry?
One event hasn't happened, so that wasn't included.
Correct.
Vice Mayor Farmer brought that up.
I am going to think positive and think that that one event isn't going to suck up the whole amount that wasn't used. And that left a difference of $11,297.74 that was under the allotted amount. Projected for 2020 is $22,421.36. And I was just looking at the differences. $781 and some change is the difference of the estimated 2019. And I just feel like there's room there. So if you could be compassionate and think of our Liberty Ranch Senior Athletics and how they would benefit from that. Coach Linebaugh did say we only gave $3,000 in scholarships last year, and last year was the year that we had to pay money to the city. This year we have to pay, well, we thought it was going to be $720. I wrote the check for $747. So that is like getting right up there towards that $1,000 scholarship that we're fearing will not be able to be funded.
Thank
Do you have any questions?
You guys have any discussion or questions?
I have a quick question. Armando, so just quick, when we budget, all these, organizations come forward with all these events, we have all these applications, and we come up with, it's going to cost $22,000. What was the reason that we came so much short? Was events that didn't happen? Why was it so much smaller after?
Some of the events didn't happen, Shamrock Festival, the street fair. Some events were moved. The Galttoberfest was moved from the Promenade to the Littleton Center. We've had the FFA, Farm to Fork, move off the streets into the Promenade. The estimate is an estimate. We don't know specific employees.
Right.
So, if we have a rookie officer out there versus a sergeant that has all his levels up, that there's a big difference in price depending on who we can get to man that.
So basically, to answer your question, Athena, last year was the first year we had this, right? So we were kind of guesstimate, and like you said, some events got canceled, some end up moving, and this and that. If every event that we have for 2019, which is $22,000 something, if unless anything changes in those events and those events use the money they're asking for, which I would think they would, then we will extend. And what is the program? How much money is allotted in the program right now?
It's up to $5,000 per event.
Per event, right?
There is no cap.
But there's no cap on how many events can apply. Oh, okay. So there's your answer. So if there's another event that Liberty Ranch was to do, I encourage you to apply for some money. But as far as money that's left, as Claire explained, we can't just roll it over. It doesn't work like that.
And that's what I wanted to find out was, does it stay in a special events fund, or
Yeah.
does it roll back to general fund, or that kind of thing?
Well, we actually did explain where the extra money went this year. It went to the banners.
Right, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, because we had another special event come up.
Absolutely.
That's
And then also
continuing.
explaining that the past 7 years, the Hawk Run was in conjunction with the Strawberry Festival, which, as I understand, will no longer be. And so last year was the first year we did it out from Liberty Ranch and on the east side and back to Liberty Ranch.
So where do you run?
It starts at the school. It went down Marengo Road, down the side of the canal, the backside of Community Park, through Community Park, across Carillion, down again the backside of the creek there, the canal. And then it came north on, if you could help me, Armando, what is the street that runs north?
Basically using the walking paths down by Community Park, and then you come back up. You'll use the walking paths and then come back up on Walnut, and then back up onto Marengo.
Well, if I was a runner, that sounds like a fun place to run.
It was a pretty nice, easy run, like Rick said, flat surfaces, and we'll plan to end in our stadium this year.
Perfect.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. The application that was a couple of days late, do we need to do anything with that or consideration for next meeting?
I would ask for the consensus of council.
I think that since the item is on for a preview this evening, that if the council is interested in having those brought forward and considered despite the late applications, that those would then be brought forward at the next meeting.
We could add that to the actual recommendation for the next meeting for approval, if that's the council's desire.
I would like to add in. I know it probably would have only been one day, but they probably weren't aware we were closed on Friday, and so that's why it was two.
Just the one event, the one she mentioned.
I think there were
Do we have
two
any other events that came in after the cutoff?
I am not aware, but they are due on the Thursday, not a Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, that would explain, okay. I
I'd like to add.
one voice, or voice of one person, but I'd like to have that come back as part of it.
I agree. I think we should, but I also want to be clear to people that are listening out there that, you know, we don't want this to become a habitual thing. You know, I know that stuff happens, but we do have deadlines for a reason, so we can get this money all approved and the whole system works smooth. So I would like to see it come back.
Yeah. And we did that in every 15 minutes late too, so. Councilmember Sandu, would you like to add this
You know,
in?
same thing, one time, everybody can make a mistake, we should, and we put something, it should not happen again and again.
Okay. So do we need to action on that or just consensus?
Just consensus is fine, thank you.
All right, so we preview the special event, we have no action on that?
Correct, no action.
Okay.
No, this would just give you time. This will give you the 2 weeks before the next council meeting, so you guys can go out and ask any questions that you may want. It's a lot of information to digest in one day and then to decide right here and then to say, this person gets this person gets that. It's a lot to take in, so that's why we've broken it up into 2 parts.
So this will be come back for approval.
At the April 16th meeting, it'll come back. We'll ask for your recommendations on approval and dollar amounts for each event.
I just want to say real quick before we finish this part, thank you, everybody. I know it's make for a long meeting and all the people that came out and all the events, and we had to listen to them all. But honestly, this is for me as a council member, this is one of the meetings that I don't mind hearing all these events, because for me, this is the coolest part about being part of the city, is being able to, you know, delegate money and for this kind of thing, and just seeing all these events. I mean, there's so many different events. They're all awesome. They all do so many things, and it seems like it's growing. And so, you know, for me, I just want to say how I look forward to these kind of moments. So,
For myself and hearing some of you all's campaigning, this is important too. I believe all of us on the council, the community feel and the community events, and we love that this makes Galt special and brings people in to reach Galt. So we just gotta get it done. All right. On to scheduled matters. Harlan Oaks rezone tentative subdivision map and design review project. And Mr. Chris Arias, do I open the public hearing now or wait? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Cindy Ganos, our contract planner with Rainey Planning and Management, will give the presentation. After she is finished, Mike Howell with Blue Mountain Communities, and then staff will be available to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you for your patience.
Thanks. Hard act to follow. Mayor, members of the council, the project site is located at the southwest corner of Walnut and Carilion, north of Dead Man Gulch. The applicant is Blue Mountain Communities. The site is designated high-density residential in the general plan with 14 to 24 units per acre. So that would allow a minimum of 223 and a maximum of 382 units. The existing zoning is Harlan Oaks Townhome Plan Development. The project needs a rezone, a tentative subdivision map, architectural review, and design review. The project site is almost 16 acres, and they are dividing it into 190 lots. 144 lots are for small lot, single-family development, 6 lots for an 80-unit apartment complex, and then 40 lots for private roads and landscaping and amenities. Of the 144 lots for single-family, 73 of those are for 3-story units along Walnut Avenue, and 71 are for 2-story units on the interior of the site. And then the 80 apartments will be spread in 6 3-story buildings. So the overall density is 14.1 units per acre, so right at the minimum of the high-density designation. What we really like about this project is it still meets that high-density designation, but it gives us 3 housing types. It gives us a 2-story model, it gives us a 3-story model that have ownership opportunities, and it also gives us apartments, which provides a rental opportunity. So the 3 different housing types in the one project are pretty unique. So I'll walk very quickly through the entitlements. So the rezone is from the Harlan Oaks Townhome Plan Development. which is, it was approved for a townhome using the plan development designation, so you really can only develop what was approved. If you made any changes, you had to come back for a rezone. So what we're doing is going straight R4, and through the R4 designation, you can, through the design review process, set your setbacks and all of that. So with the new development code, the R4, the plan development designation isn't needed anymore, just a straight R4 does it. So that zoning is consistent with the general plan designation, and it's also consistent with the Northeast area specific plan. So we're not rezoning to increase the density, we're rezoning to remove the plan development and go straight zoning ordinance requirements. The other entitlement is the tentative map, and again, it's dividing it into lots for the single-family and the multifamily components. The single-family is accessed via Walnut Avenue and then internal private streets. The multifamily is accessed via Carilion, and they are connected internally, so you can get to both aspects of the project. The tentative map also includes open space, a tot lot, and a dog park. We've added a condition that the CCNRs for the single-family homes allow apartment access to that tot lot and dog park to make sure it's a cohesive community. There's also significant pedestrian connections to Dead Man's Gulch, which you can see more in this wall and fence exhibit. The applicant proposes a 6-foot masonry wall along Walnut and Carilion, and where there's blue dots in that exhibit, those are pedestrian gates that give you access to the street. There's also 6-foot decorative metal fencing along Dead Man Gulch, and you can also see the blue dots there that give you pedestrian access to that. So there's a lot of pedestrian connection to the gulch and to the streets proposed as part of the project. Really quickly, the zoning code requires planning commission architectural review of single-family projects of 5 or more units. Because the project included a rezone, if one entitlement goes, all entitlement goes, so council actually has the final authority on the architectural and design review as well. So the single-family homes range from 1,698 to 2,051 square feet. They each have a 2-car garage, and there's 116 guest parking spaces spread throughout on the street. The elevations have 3 different styles. They include, I've lost my words there, contemporary Spanish, abstract traditional, and traditional Spanish. This shows you the 2-story models, and there you've got your 3-story models. And then design review is required for the apartments. So the apartments have 80 units. They range in size from 717 to 1,468 each. The 6 buildings, 4 of them have 14 units in them. 2 of them have 12 units, and they've got 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. Parking is a single-car garage for each unit located on the first level with the units above. There are 28 additional carport spaces, 51 open spaces. That gives a total of 159 spaces, and the zoning code requires 138. This shows you an example of the 12-unit and the 14-unit building architecture, and as you can see, it complements the architecture that was submitted for the single-family homes. In terms of CEQA, because the project is located and is consistent within the Northeast area specific plan, the project is exempt from CEQA. And Planning Commission reviewed the project on March 14th. They recommended approval and added 3 conditions. One condition was requiring that the alleyways accessing the garages for all of the single-family homes be concrete. Another condition was that there be light fixtures on both sides of each garage for the single-family units, and that all of the single-family unit front doors, or half the single-family unit front doors, have some form of window within them. In addition, the Sacramento Air District requested that we analyze the project in terms of the city's climate action plan. We were a little hesitant to do that because the climate action plan is draft, so the policies haven't been vetted by council and they're still being reviewed by staff. But basically, it's consistent with the preliminary measures, and the project by its design is really a greenhouse gas saving project. It's a high-density infill project on a transit corridor with tons of pedestrian connections. So whether we've got the climate action plan adopted or not, the nature of the project encourages reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. But they also, the Air District also requested that the bicycle parking meet appropriate state standards. So we added condition A24 that called out what those standards are. So that concludes my presentation. You can open the public hearing, and upon closing the public hearing, introduce the ordinance to approve the rezone, waive the full reading, and then continue that to the next meeting, and then adopt the resolution approving the tentative map, architectural, and design review.
Do we comment before the public meeting, the council, or do we open the public? So we're going to have questions from staff just in case before we open the public meeting. Is that all right? I do appreciate the metal fencing. I've seen it all the way down on the back of some of the houses. I visited people down with the gully, so that's consistent. Also, I'm happy to see that they made the changes the Planning Commission asked for, so the renderings aren't quite what the final product will be, because there'll be some things added to that. So just for information. Is there any other discussion?
The only question I have, why we climate action plan and why we avoiding that?
Well, as Cindy mentioned, we're in the process of reviewing a climate action plan, and so there's a lot of back and forth with staff, the consultant, and then also the air quality district. So we're not quite ready to bring a document forward, but the air district's role is to, minimize, GHG pollution in the air. So their concern is making sure that when projects come forward, and especially with cities that don't have a climate action plan, that they still meet certain criteria. So they just asked us to kind of put together something that shows how this project does meet general climate action plan features.
This plan, what's the city anticipate, how you guys can bring to, how long it can bring to the council and something as compared to the other city?
I'm not.
No, I'm talking about the climate action plan.
Oh.
Where
We're-
at. Are we going to pursue next year, 2 year, 5 years, or what?
Yeah, our plan is to present the climate action plan, to draft a planning commission either in May or June. I think we're kind of looking more at June. And then once we go to planning commission with it in June, we'll start a CEQA process and then come back to planning commission and then to city council, probably toward the end of the year. So I think city council would end up seeing it. And drafts, once we go public with a draft, the council would get a copy of that prior to the planning commission meeting. So you would have a chance to see it before we go to planning commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the original project, so the rezone has nothing to do with the addition of, was there always going to be apartments in part of the project, or was that the change?
No, that's probably the big change. The approved project was a straight townhome project, so it was all for sale. There were no apartments in the previous project.
Right. So what we're doing is we're taking an existing project that was already approved as townhomes, and we've tweaked it to create a more eclectic.
Oh yeah.
I don't know the best word I can think of in my head right this second, but with the apartments.
Yeah, I think Cindy nailed it when she talked about the variety of housing product there, the three types. And I think the other things that the previous design didn't have was the tot lot, dog park, and then also the detention areas. So you end up with a real more cohesive community that's being proposed today. Blue Mountain, we're real excited they're in Galt. What we do like about them too is they build. They don't just get through entitlements and then look for another home builder. They're actually here to build.
So the 2 and 3 story, I was looking at some of them. I've kind of heard some people piping in about the designs and stuff. It's definitely different than anything we have in Galt. So a lot of people are just like, because it's so different, people get a little freaked out. And the 3 story looks a little, I know it's kind of looks a little European to me. Is kind of what it comes off. So my question is, I was noticing you have a sound wall on, the proposed is a sound wall on Walnut, metal fencing that's see-through, basically open to Dead Man's Gulch, right? So then the only place you have new homes butting up against existing would be the Grizzly Hollow
Correct.
development, right? And there's 7 homes that I see on the map that are part of that. So will there be 3-story or 2-story homes butting up against that? Only 2.
2-story. And we try to be real sensitive to existing communities. In fact, when the wall goes in on that side, there's conditions to make sure that they're talking to those people over there so that when the wall goes in, whatever fence is up there, that can be taken down and score. The mortar on the other side can look as good as it does on the side facing the new development. So we try to pay attention to that.
And so, I don't want to get too much time on this, but this is definitely something that's very talked about. Apartments to some people are not in favor of apartments. Other people are. So it can be go both ways. I know that I personally feel like there's a great need for it, but it also has to fit certain criteria. One concern I have, and a lot of people have expressed this to me, is they worry that apartment complexes kind of go downhill. They just stereotype it as like, oh, apartment is going to be kind of a crummy thing going, whatever. This is an HOA project. Yeah, I mean, this will have maintenance built into that to maintain the development, right?
Yes.
Once people are moved in and occupy it. Just want to be clear on that because I think that's important to keep the facility nice.
Well, and I think that's an important distinction because rather than just have an apartment management, you do have a single-family development nearby that does have that HOA and a maintenance mechanism to make sure that the whole site is being maintained. So, correct. I think that is an important.
Because people are not going to. I mean, the townhomes are going to be for sale. You purchase those, the apartments will be for lease. So you're going to have people committing to a purchase and something, and right across the parking lot or in their little compound, should I call it, there'll be apartments. So it's important that.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, and I believe it's in the staff report, is the apartments and even some of the smaller lot subdivisions help us meet our state housing requirements. So even though they are market rate, they are projected to meet some income brackets other than above moderate. So even though the apartments are market rate and the small lot are market rate, it's possible that they meet the moderate income levels and possibly the apartments even a low income level.
When's the last time we had apartments built in Galt that weren't Section 8 or some kind of special senior, like unrestricted, that could be for any age?
I've been here 14 years and we haven't done that. So the last apartment complex is Galt Place, but that was deed restricted, affordable, and for senior. So we have not had a market rate apartment probably since, I'm drawing a blank on the name, Comfrey up off Twin Cities on Lake Park.
Yeah.
And that's been back probably late 1990s, early 2000.
So, I mean, it's no secret that I'm not a huge fan of just mass sprawl development. The same old normal thing we always have. So for me, this is kind of really different. I like the fact that it's apartments. I have 2 college-aged daughters that both, one lives out of the home, one just moved back. I mean, it's tough to find stuff in Galt that young adults and specifically can find to live that are nice. So I like that aspect of it. I think that us tweaking that zoning to allow for the apartment part of that, I think is my favorite part of it. That's what for me makes it appealing. Last question is there any place that Blue Mountain has done a development with these similar designs that we could go and look at in person as a council member, or is this this will be the first time these designs have been built? The elevations.
Mike Howell with Blue Mountain Communities. Go ahead and answer.
Good evening, Mike Howell with Blue Mountain Communities. We actually haven't built this product specifically. We've done small lot developments, several in Hayward that we're currently developing, and we have apartment projects in processing plans and for development in Lathrop as well as in the Thomas.
Any of those 3-story?
The 3-story single family is kind of a new and up and coming thing. They're doing it more, I would say, in Sacramento, you can see in Elk Grove. They're definitely doing it in the Bay Area. It's basically a more affordable way to get people into a single family home.
And I know to ask you the price point stuff is a little bit guesswork because we don't know what the market's going to be like, but I've heard that it's going to be very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, the size and, lot size will drive, what's affordable in the market for people to pay, so. Currently projecting mid threes and, high fours potentially on the single family. So.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
I actually did Google Blue Mountain and looked at some of your current buildings that you're working on, and look very nice little extras. We're hoping for some nice little extras, so it looks very nice. So, all right, Councilmember Lozano, do you have anything?
No, I'm just ready for public comment.
Ready for public comment? All right, we're going to open the public hearing. Don't all run up here. Any public comment? Close it. All right, close public hearing.
Okay, then take them.
And now we received the presentation. We open public hearing. All right. Introduce an ordinance amending the district zoning. That
Mayor Lamson, I would just confirm that if there's any more discussion with the council before you take.
I do just have a couple of comments now. I appreciate the project that's coming forward. I too also agree that we have some housing elements here in the city that we're not meeting some of the needs, and Vice Mayor Farmer pointed out exactly the same situation I'm in, where you have young adults who want to stay in the community and can't afford to because the housing inventory doesn't allow for their price points. So I think that's really important. I just want to make sure that as we're moving forward, and I know we've done this, I went to the Planning Commission when they heard this, and we have some folks on the Planning Commission that are real astute as it relates to crime prevention through environmental design. And so this is going to be very important because we have a piece of land here that hasn't been developed for many, many years. It's exciting that somebody wants to build here in one of our infill development projects. But we really also need to continue to look at those things as it relates to how we move forward and ensuring that we continue to be good neighbors to all of the residents who have been here for many years. And so appreciate Blue Mountain wanting to work here and build here in our community. And I look forward to this being a nice mixture of types of housing inventory that will really flourish. And I too also like the homeowners association attachment there, because that really begins to hold homeowners accountable for their properties. And so I think this is, I'm not a huge fan of apartments, but I think this is the best option if we're going to move down that road. So.
And I have seen some 3-story homes on the smaller lots. Mr. Rice and Mr. Palazzo took the previous council on a field trip. Did you go with this? And while I myself would not like 2 sets of stairs in my home, it's doable, and the floor plans were fine, and they really flowed well. So I'm confident that there's a market for that type of house.
20 years ago, I could have done it.
20 years ago, we could have done it. I agree. Not anymore. All right. So now?
Introduce the ordinance first.
So introduce the ordinance amending the district zoning map of the city of Galt for the Parlin Oaks development, and waive the full reading and continue to the next meeting for adoption. Do we need to have a motion for that? Okay, can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second. So moved by Vice Mayor Farmer, seconded by Councilmember Lozano. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Lamson?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Now we need to adopt a resolution approving the tentative subdivision map, architectural review, and design review for Parlin Oaks development. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano, seconded by Vice Mayor Farmer. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Lamson?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Welcome. All right, regular calendar. City Attorney's Office. Am I going the right direction?
Yes.
All right. So we have City Manager Recruitment, a report by Attorney Kimberly Hood.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is actually going to be potentially a joint effort here with myself and the Human Resources Director, Ms. Hall. Before you this evening is the first step in the recruitment of a new city manager. This is to start this conversation and start exploring some of your options and how you want this process to proceed. There are obviously many, this is a very important position. There are many different ways to go about this. So what we've suggested in the agenda report is that you consider two options. First, whether you want to retain an outside recruiting firm, an executive firm that will do a broad search. The expense for that is estimated to be between $25,000 and $30,000. We have included the sample of what the council did the last time you recruited for a city manager and the type of response you get with an RFP. So what you would do is, what we'd like tonight is to start the conversation as to what type of search you think you want, what type of process you want involved. Panels, I know there's probably some interest in some public participation in the recruitment efforts. So we want to get a better idea of that, and we would ask that the council then authorize staff to issue an RFP, a request for proposals to these executive search firms to get a better estimate and proposal of what they would foresee and propose for you as a recruitment process. Alternatively, city staff could do a recruitment as well. It just takes more intensive time. This is obviously an important search. So we discussed in the staff report that, even with an executive recruitment firm, it can sometimes take up to 14 weeks, and you could be looking at even longer with staff, obviously has other obligations going on at the same time. So we're not asking you to make that choice this evening, just to authorize at least making the first step with the RFP, issuing an RFP to get the executive recruitment firms. And then the next step would be looking at those options and considering whether you want to go that route. Do you want to keep it in-house? I would see if Ms. Hall would like to expand on that a little bit.
Well, we currently have already posted for this recruitment. That is because the proposed interim city manager, sorry, I keep saying that, is a retired annuitant. So part of the deal on that is that we have to have an open vacancy. So I did post for that position on Thursday. So that is an option to continue with just using the Human Resources Division. Obviously, we would have to create our own flyers, do our own public outreach. It wouldn't be as extensive as of a search, and it could take a lot longer, but it is definitely an option.
How many applications have you received already?
25.
25?
Only one has passed.
So it is obviously an important position, and that's why we're not asking you to make any initial steps this evening. I'm sure there will be a lot of community input. One other item we suggested was that the council consider appointing 2 members as an advisory committee to assist staff with preparing a proposal, and that to help make this process a little more efficient as we go forward and provide input before we then return to the full council to review.
So you want to start off?
Let Rich start off. Go ahead.
Are you done?
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. Well, I appreciate the staff report about what we're looking at tonight, and I don't think I'm prepared to make a decision on whether we hire an outside consulting firm or do it in-house. I do agree this is a very important decision, and one of my colleagues at a meeting said that this will probably be one of the singular most important decisions we make as a council moving forward. I've been involved in executive recruitment processes as an elected official. It is very important. I think this is a time in our community where we really need to be deliberate about how we do this, be deliberate about community input on what type of person, what characteristics we're looking for in a city manager. I think being deliberate about having input from not only executive staff, but also from our labor workforce in our community, in our organization. We talked a lot about at our strategic planning workshop about inclusiveness and bringing folks together to make some of the best decisions we can make. Honestly, the community elected us to make difficult decisions. But I think, and I've said this for years, that if we include our partners and our stakeholders in making these types of decisions, it makes them that much easier. And not that I can't make a difficult decision, but I think it's important to have people involved in that can make those decisions and have the input. I think that I would agree that we should at least look at putting together an RFP to find out what's out there and what some of the costs are. I'm not a huge consultant fan, honestly. You know, I think government uses that quite a bit to, the consultants quite a bit in different areas for the wrong reasons. But if we could have a menu of items that we would be requesting for proposal on this, so that maybe we could even break it up into recruitment and initial screening, and then we take it over, or however that looks. But I think we should at least begin to go down this road so that we have the most information moving forward. And then I would ask my colleagues to allow me to be a part of that initial to council members with my experience in executive management hiring as an elected official to kind of help bridge that in between meetings. And so I have many ideas, and I've heard many things from the community about what we're looking for and how we should be doing that. And so I think it's important that we move that forward. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you. All right. Vice Mayor Farmer?
So yeah, I very much agree with a lot of things that Rich was saying. Not a big fan of consultants, but there is a place for them. I think I'm not prepared tonight for sure to decide anything, but I think that I would entertain maybe getting some requests on what those costs would be and what that would entail. What I would be concerned about, or what Rich touched on, what I think is super important, is this probably will be one of the most important decisions that I will make in my term. I think it's that serious. I want to be very methodical about it. I want to take our time. I mean, if we interview 5 people and we don't like any of the 5, I don't want to be like, well, this guy was. If I had to pick one of the 5, you know, I mean, we have to be very sure, because I know there's a stigma in the business of city managers where 2 to 3 years seems to be the whatever. I know I might be sounding very optimistic here, but I would love to just break that stereotype, honestly, because, you know, the people who voted, the new people that are up here and the people that are from the previous council, you know, they entrust us to really, city managers is so critical, because as we saw in the strategic plan, our goals and the priorities that we set forth, you know, we did have, one of our number one things was community input and more involvement with the community. So I very much want to have a lot of input with the community. I very much think that the ideas we'd shared about having a panel not only of department heads, obviously, but of lower level staff participate in you know, seeing these candidates that will be coming forward before us at one point. And then in addition to that, public input, you know, people, representative from the school district, representative from both school districts, from the Chamber of Commerce, from maybe some significant nonprofits in the community. I think it's important because our city manager doesn't just, I don't want to look at the city manager as someone who just runs our city. I want to look at a city manager as someone who's going to be someone who runs the community. And so community goes outside of the walls of City Hall. And so I think that it's important we have someone who's very community minded. I think that all of us, at least the 4 of us here, I speak on behalf of Kurt, but I would like to think, I think we're all in consensus that we want a more community minded.
Absolutely.
You know, that's our goal. So I like the idea of panels. I think this discussion needs to happen a little more. I too would be very interested if we do an ad hoc of 2 members. I think I would be very much want to be a part of that if my fellow council members would let me. Because I would love to be a part of, if Rich and I were to do it, we could you know, kind of put together some ideas of what we think that process should, maybe a little bit of consulting, you know, what the mixture of that needs to be, and then come back to the council and see what the council thinks. So because you department heads, this is going to be your boss. I mean, we'd ultimately get to make the decision, but ultimately we want your guys' blessing on it. So it's that critical for me. So that's my input on it.
The same thing my other two council members said, I'm not ready tonight, but I certainly will consider, they spending $25,000 or $30,000. I'm not with that, but certainly we, consider some money to spend on the initial level, maybe with the consultant, but then we have to go back to the council or people getting from the community. So the city manager is a very important job to the city, and he do work with the community, work with the city council, and work with the department. And that same thing I told, this might be a harder decision, or this might be a decision to who will be the and moreover, I also would like to mention there is big companies out there. Sometimes they promote the people from the inside department. That's not mean we don't have a qualified people in the department, all the department heads. I see in a report that there is all the head of the department, they're very busy in what they're doing. But I'm talking about when after 6 months, after the interim, my opinion is we should give them an opportunity to, if anybody wants to promote on that position, and also look at the outside too. We really need to be a qualified person, whoever can lead the city and whoever can communicate with the community, city council, and all the heads. Thank you.
So I too would like to proceed with an RFP process for the executive recruiting. It's a good first step, and it will provide us with some information how we can best proceed. I'm sure they'll have some ideas with developing a candidate profile for us and soliciting community stakeholder input. We talked about that today. Love to get the fire chief in on it and all the different panels that all you guys talked about also. But clearly we want to be professional. If you want a professional, you have to use professionals. And we want to attract candidates with broad experience in municipal finance, economic development, and management of the various departments. So I really think we need to just see what's out there and who can help us, because I know you're really busy and I don't know how much time. Maybe if we're talking about half them, half us, you could give us an estimate of what that would take of your time in your department, and then we could decide what's the better to go ahead and go full consultant or half. Does that make sense? Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Our staff's time is important. So when the public thinks like, that we're going to just spend $25,000 or $30,000, they're obviously, if we were to look at staff doing it, there's obviously a cost involved in that. So we have to look at that and really decide. One thing that does concern me is, and I know that it's no secret what we're looking for because we talk about it, and somebody could watch this meeting back. But I would be concerned that one thing is when you pick let's call them a headhunter firm, and they say this is what we're looking for, and we give them a strict set of guidelines about this is the kind of person we're looking for, this is the profile, and then they go, and then that person comes and says tells us what we want to hear. So I think it's important that that we really do research. Like when I hire employees, I don't just look at their applicant, and I mean, I check and call their references, which obviously now this day and age you call a reference and they say, oh yeah, I mean, there's only so much they can say. I think it's very important, and I think that maybe a role that our staff could play, or even our council could play in this, is we do have candidates come along. We need to reach out to them. We need to call cities they've worked for, not call and speak to City Hall, but maybe go and visit those communities and go into the businesses in those communities and say, hey, do you like your business here? How's your city management been here? Kind of do like some behind the scenes, investigating and reference checking to see how the community felt about that person or whatever. I mean, just ideas I'm throwing out there. But again, I want to make sure that we get this right. So we want to be very, very thought out about how we're going to do this.
Yeah. And in these circles, a lot of people know each other. And with the recruiters, they know who's out there. Right. Maybe they could tempt somebody stealing from somewhere else. So it would be good to have their expertise,
right,
and knowledge on that. And Plus, like you said, you had 25 applicants and only one was actually qualified. So that's going to be a lot of sifting. I have a feeling once we go out for 68 weeks for the applications, we could get hundreds. I don't know.
Well,
So,
if we got one in a week, 68 weeks, we might have eight qualified. Just saying, that's not
Yeah.
bad for only being
Oh.
advertised. You
That's
know,
how it
Good
goes
point.
with recruitment, you never know.
yeah. So, but we do really want staff, and maybe we'll let the POA interview them and get in there. So,
I think it's, we're just speaking freely here. I think it's important to have our labor groups involved in the process. I mean, you know, like I said, I've been through this process a couple of times. And, you know, recruiters can bring you what you're looking for, and they do that for a living. So 1 minute they're processing somebody for the city of XYZ, and then they see why that person didn't get chosen for that city. And it may not be because they're a bad person. It's just they may not be the right fit.
Right.
And then our position pops up, and they say, "Hey, I'm recruiting over here for Galt." You know, I think what they're looking for is exactly why you didn't get hired at this other place. Why don't you take a look at this position? So I say all that to say, you know, we need the community's involvement. We need to reach out as a group to stakeholders, including, you know, anyone in the community that has city manager experience that may be able to give us advice on this too. And so there's a lot to do. But I would agree that moving forward, we need to be very deliberate and methodical about how we're going about this and making sure we get the right person for the community.
Right.
Not for us,
right.
but for the community.
And using professional service also lends to our credibility as a city for the people applying to.
Good.
Because they're going to be watching our council meetings, and they might be coming to town and asking people questions. They probably should.
They should.
So Rich and I worked well together on our other thing, but if Vice Mayor Farmer and Rich Lozano want to work on the panel, I'm fine with that.
do you have a problem with that, Paul?
No, I don't have a problem, ad hoc, Rich Lozano and Sean, if they want them, I don't problem, but all council are qualified to do all things. So I don't have problem. The other thing I really would like to, the ad hoc committee, they can do, they can discuss, but we like to be something other council member in a loop might be different. Don't violate the Brown law, but 2x2, something with,
I think
with attorney.
I think the concept is just that we'll kind of kick around ideas, and then whatever the idea of what the mixture of consultant versus whatever that Rich and I can agree on, then we come back to you guys and say, this is what we think. What do you guys think? And then obviously, if you guys are like no, then we're going to go back to the drawing board. But that's just kind of puts it so we can work behind the scenes on coming up with an idea.
Hopefully
Right.
you'll give us
Yeah,
more
I
than
agree.
one choice at that
Well,
point.
yeah.
So give us some options. Yeah? So what now?
So assuming there's no public comment,
Is there any public comment? Okay.
then I would ask that the council provide a motion authorizing staff to issue an RFP for an executive recruitment firm that we would then return to the full council, obviously, to review before any decisions are made. And that also that the council appoint, well, I should clarify that recruitment, that RFP would include a mixed-use proposal that we will work on with the ad hoc, the advisory committee, which it sounds like the appointments would be Councilmember Lozano and Vice Mayor Farmer. I just need a motion to that effect.
I will make a motion to approve that.
Can I mention one more thing? Can we make sure that the RFPs that we get are, we're looking for a recruiting firm that can not only look close, but also look at a broader, I want to see different aspects of what that would look like.
Yeah, so we're not just doing half and half, we're doing both. They're giving us options.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so that is very helpful to have some of the general direction this evening that we can then work on the RFP, and then we will work with the advisory committee to then refine that RFP.
And what staff time would look like.
Yes.
That's going to be an option, okay.
Yes. And that will ultimately, we will obviously be back in front of the full council to review that further.
I'll second it.
Who made the motion?
Paul, Mr. Vice Mayor. Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Oh,
You made the motion.
you made the motion. I seconded it. Do you need any help? Because I know you got it. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano.
Aye.
Mayor Lamson.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Now, back to Kimberly Hood, the interim city manager appointment.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening is a request and a resolution to appoint Thomas Hagland as the interim city manager effective April 4th, 2019, this week, and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for the temporary employment of Mr. Hagland. Mr. Hagland has a wealth of experience in city management. He not only resides in Galt currently, but he was employed by the city from approximately 1992 to 1994. As a special projects manager, he continued his career in public service as a deputy city manager with the city of Hanford and an assistant city manager for the city of Brentwood. He was then served as the city administrator, which is equivalent to the city manager, is my understanding, of the city of Gilroy for just under 8 years, and then also served as the general manager for the Tuolumne Irrigation District, and he retired from the Irrigation District? Utilities District in June of 2018. So Mr. Hagland is a CalPERS annuitant, which comes with special strings and rules. Those rules are laid out in the agenda report. It basically falls under the 2-1, what we call the 2122H appointment that comes before the city council. Mr. Hagland has to be filling a role that requires special skills, which obviously the city manager position does, and he has the skills to do that. The position also requires the payment of the posted salary wage, so there's no issue as to the salary, which works out to an hourly rate of $86.10. That is the rate that he would be paid on an hourly basis. He will not be entitled to any additional compensation, overtime, or benefits because he is an annuitant. The estimated, I should also note that he is also limited under CalPERS rules to 960 hours per fiscal year. So obviously that will run through the end of June of this year, and then the 960-hour clock would start again starting in July. So that gives you some room to allow the recruitment process to play out and not rush the decision. The estimated maximum cost for this engagement that we have in the staff report is $41,328, which is just an estimate we came up with using the hourly rate times an estimate of 40 hours per week through the end of the fiscal year, which is approximately 12 weeks. That, as I should note, is just through this fiscal year. So obviously, we don't know, assuming the appointment extends into the following fiscal year, the amount will continue. So with that, I believe Mr. Hagland is here and ready to introduce himself.
Would you like to come to the podium and introduce yourself, please?
Mayor Lamson, Vice Mayor Farmer, members of the council, good evening. I was really humbled when you inquired as to whether or not I would consider serving as your interim city manager as you embark on a recruitment for a full-time permanent manager, and I'm honored to do so. As Ms. Hood indicated, this was my first California city that I worked in, and it was a wonderful experience, and it led to many other wonderful experiences in city management over the course of my career. And so I'm very eager to bring those experiences, some difficult, all of them nonetheless rewarding, back to Galt, that I consider my hometown, and work with the staff and community stakeholders, and you, of course, as the elected leadership of the community, to bring about your vision for this community. And so I thank you for this particular opportunity, and I look forward to getting started on Thursday morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have discussion? Or
yes.
I'm just extremely, I feel like we're extremely fortunate that we have someone living locally who can step in this fast with the experience and the training he's had, and I'm confident that things will keep moving. We have a lot going on in the city, and so I'm confident we can keep moving forward with that. Thank you for answering the phone.
Yeah, I too. I think we're lucky to have Mr. Hagland with his experience and his retirement just happened to be, I mean, it's really, losing your city manager can be a very, stressful time for a city. So, again, I think we're very lucky to have him be available. Thank you for stepping in and obliging us. Your experience, I look forward to just the discussions we've had, with the council the other day. I'm very excited about, you helping move forward the goals of the new council and accomplishing and solving some problems, some issues. I know you've had a wealth of experience in taking care of some challenges at some of your past cities. So I can't wait to see what you can do for us. And I'm not saying they're going to be easy, but you got your work cut out for you. So I'm glad you're up to the task. And also too, it wasn't mentioned, but I think it's very important to use your input to find your replacement, because what's unusual is that you live here. So when you step down from this position and we cater in a new permanent, this is someone that you have to live in. So you got to be able to walk away from that saying, this is the right guy. And when I go back and become retired again, that I'm going to feel confident that we put the right person in place. And I think that's very important. So I'm glad that you'll be helping us with that. And I'm going to very much rely on your input on that.
Well said.
Thank you for Tom accepting that interim city manager position. Thank you. You're a local resident and you know the community. And I have no doubt in my mind with your experience and with your knowledge, you can do a good job. And then also, moreover, you have a good staff. All these directors have a very good knowledge, skill, and ability to do their job. So thank you, thank you for stepping in the plate, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate everything they said. Thanks for picking the phone up for us. The one thing that we talked about when we met with you was the quality executive team that you have here to work with. Very professional people who bring a lot to the table. And I think that'll make your job a little easier as interim city manager. They're just great employees that do a good job. And so I think collectively, while we bridge this gap, they'll be able to help with that, and feel free to lean on us as well as much as you need to. But I think moving forward, it'll be important to continue to do the recruitment, but keep the ship moving too. As we mentioned, we're not looking for just somebody to be a placeholder. We need to continue to move forward. And so we appreciate you picking the phone up for us. So thanks.
Right. Can I get a motion to adopt a resolution appointing Thomas Hagland as interim city manager effective April 4th, 2019, and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for temporary employment with Mr. Hagland?
So moved. I'll second it. Rich can take it.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano, seconded by Vice Mayor Farmer. That was the closest simultaneous I've heard so far. Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Lamson?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Is there any communication?
None.
City clerk's report?
None tonight.
Okay. Comments by staff. Let's start with Ms. Claire.
Nothing to report, thank you.
All right. Mr. Selling?
Nothing for the department, but I just want to welcome Mr. Hagland. Look forward to working with you.
All right. Mr. Reyes?
Nothing, thank you.
Nope. Or who are you hiring?
Well, first, I just want to say welcome to Mr. Hagland. Look forward to working with you. So I do have a city manager recruitment going on. Like you said, it is one of the most important recruitments that I'll be working on. We also have a police officer, swim coach, wastewater plant supervisor, wastewater system operator, water system operator, and youth sports official for softball. So we encourage anybody who's interested to please go to our website and to apply.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
All right. And I just want to thank Mr. Solis for stepping up 2 weeks as interim. I know you had a lot of extra calls and things to put in. You did a wonderful, very professional job with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Some of the things that I have, a couple of special events between now and the next council meeting. We have the shredded event, but I know Donna's going to speak more about that as we get close.
Oh, you go ahead and take it.
Okay, that'll be this Saturday at the Galt Market grounds. Our citizens are able to drop off items to be shredded in bulk. We have the Food Truck Mania on April 6th. April 9th, we moved the March to Good Health to the market because it was raining. Hopefully, it won't rain next week. And then the 13th, we have the extravaganza. Also want to remind everybody that our fields and parks may be closed, so call the field condition line at 209-366-7190. We don't want to close the parks, but sometimes we have to for safety and to keep our parks in good condition. And then I'd also like to thank you for appointing Tom Haglund because he's taking work off of me. And it's actually, we've kind of gone full circle. I worked for Tom directly in '92. He was our first special projects administrator way back when. So I get to work with him and for him again. So I look forward to it. I'm sure everybody will enjoy working with him.
Nice. Chief?
So the one thing I want to add is that we have a recent graduate of the CHP motor
Oh, we do we?
course in the back of the room, Greg Steele. He's eager, he's motivated, and he's out on his motorcycle, so residents of Galt, please slow down, stop at all your stops. If you see a red light, stop. I'm to complete stop, because he's out there right now. And other than that, that's all we have in the police department. Welcome to Galt. I know you've used to work here before, but welcome. We're looking forward to working with you, and we're all eagerly anticipating Thursday's meeting with you.
Ms. Hood?
Welcome to Mr. Haglund, and I have nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Comments by council members?
Yeah, I just have one thing. Thank you to Mr. Solis for stepping in as acting city manager for the last couple of weeks in the interim. Appreciate you taking on all the extra work. Thank you to staff for working with us through this process. I hope, at least from my seat, to do what we can to bring some stability as soon as we can. And I think Mr. Haglund will help bring that. And to the community, be patient with us. We're in a transition, but I think you heard tonight that we're going to do everything we can in our power to make sure that we hire the right person to permanently fill this position. So please have patience with us. I know council members we need to have patience with everyone too. So just take a deep breath and let's move forward. And thank everyone out there for all you do for our city and continuing to move it forward. So thanks.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Just a few things real quick. Yeah, definitely congrats to Mr. Haglund. Thank you again. Mr. Solis, thanks Armando for stepping in. We appreciate that. I didn't really even feel like anything was missing there. It was just kind of a smooth, keeping things afloat for that time. And again, like Rich said, thanks to the staff. I mean, again, it was a time of anxiety over the last couple of weeks, everybody not going to what's going on. And because of closed sessions and things like that, there's like all this stuff that can't be put out. And it's, it's got to be tough, especially with new people such as Mike and Claire, still being new to the team. They're like, what did I get myself into? I just got here. But we feel good about, I think the whole council, when we talked, we all felt really good about our team. Like when we talked with Mr. Haglund, one thing that was really great was Mr. Haglund was like, look, I'm not coming in here to clean house. And we're like, good, because that's not what we want you for. So it was important that we were instantly on the same page, when we asked him and started letting him know how our feelings were. So it's important because I think I really like the team we have. I think I think everybody meshes good, and I feel good about it. So I look forward to the weeks ahead. I want to congrats to Officer Steele. I seen him out there with Walton cruising around his bike. It was like, I didn't know if you were Ponch or John, though. I was trying to figure out which one was Ponch and John. You guys are riding in tandem, So it's kind of cool to see that. And me as being a big advocate for speeding enforcement, I love seeing the enforcement. So keep that up, please. And basically, I know they're all gone, but the team thing, I would like to basically bring that back for discussion next meeting. I think we need to really bounce around some ideas, and hopefully we can get with Mr. Haglund and see, how can the city be involved in that idea? We need to get that off the ground. So, I know it's going to take a lot of participation from private industry, but we need to see what can the city do? What can we help facilitate, or how can we streamline that process to get that going? It's a huge need in the community. Obviously, you saw the turnout tonight. I had a private meeting with those people the other night at Sarah's home. Their ideas were above my expectations of what they got, and I think it's going to be a great thing. So I would like to, hopefully the council will support trying to see what we can do for that. And then last of all, a big thanks just real quick to Cal Waste. They donated some brand new weed eaters to the Beautification Committee and the Historical Society. And so it was very generous of them to do that. They're very supportive of the community and to support the beautification and they're always supportive of the beautification committee and all the efforts that they put forth. So it was great that they were to do that. It's very generous of them and their customers to do that. And then one more thing I just remembered. My concern about the volleyball thing with the firemen, cops is, honestly, we just got a bunch of people off injured and we're back working again. I don't really want to have 6 injured police officers again. Then we'll be back to being shorthanded. Just saying.
Maybe it could be
When
retired.
we go chase the ball after we miss it, it takes a lot of energy, and so I can't guarantee there won't be any injuries.
All right, that's all I have.
Well, we try really hard, so.
So he brought up the teen center. Are we ready to get that on the agenda, or do we need to look at some of our options first? I don't know if we're ready to take any action on that, and we do want our interim city manager to, the first 2 weeks are going to be a little crazy. So do we want to put that on the next agenda, or do we want to wait a little bit till we see what's some of the
I
options?
just want to bring it back for discussion so we can, tonight's been a long meeting. I want to go. I would like to have more discussion.
So just throw it on there and discuss it? I don't know if.
I would, again, opinion of one, I would say sooner than later. I don't know that the next meeting would be as appropriate maybe as the following one, and give the interim city manager an opportunity to look at what the staff report constraints are going to be, and then move forward. But I do want to have some discussion about that, and for a facility for teens, and maybe partnering with other agencies to put something together. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say, ask to bring back the teen center for discussion to a future meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to see it within the next, 2-3 meetings out at the most. I think I want to keep, want to talk about it still fresh in our minds. Just bounce ideas around, but give Tom a chance to, work on some other things first.
Maybe leave it up to the interim city manager when he gets on board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Sandu, Councilmember Sandu.
First of all, thank you for all the staff members giving everybody working as a team with Mr. Solis 2-3 weeks as working as a city manager. And welcome Mr. Tom to step in a plate with the interim city manager. And moreover, I did attend a public safety meeting on March 25th. And on that meeting, Chris, he gave a good presentation about Carillion Boulevard Master Plan. And he have a couple options. And I believe there is a option number one, my concern, and there is some other residents have a concern. So I like to reach these residents out there, the option 1 and option 2. And that's why we need to reach some community, what their concerns are. And I believe all the council members, they have the emails, and I have a couple residents on the neighbors, they approach to me, they have a concern on option 1. Thank you.
We'll get to it. All right, so I also attended the public safety meeting, and what I appreciated was they had brought that to a public hearing at the safety meeting a few months earlier, and they had a lot of public input, and then they came up with some alternatives and suggestions. So we're working through that. We're still in the exploratory phase. We'll get there. And congratulations to Councilmember Sandu, who is now the chair of the Safety Committee. Also, I attended the Walmart online shopping grand opening this morning with Mr. Haglund. So it was, I don't know if you know this, but Walmart employees have to do a chant before every shift. You department heads might want to consider that. It was quite exciting. So now people who are busy and you're going home, you just get on your little app and order something. When you get there, they bring it to your cart, and you get to approve it, make sure everything looks good, and it's quite. They also had to hire. How many people did he say he had to hire? It's like 17 more employees. Yes, so that was great. And then we had the State of the City address, which it was a little rough because the city manager resigned on Tuesday. The State of the City was on Thursday. I said, well, all right, I'll suck it up. I'll do what I have to do. And I asked Armando, can you reach out to the department heads for me? And lo and behold, the department heads all helped, came and gave the presentation. Each took a little part. Claire was on vacation, so Claire graciously came in on her vacation and helped me go over that part. And I've gotten nothing but positive feedback. They like that style, so I think you guys are on the hook for future years. So, sorry the meeting's so long, but this, with all the public comments, it was great with all that this evening. We appreciate everybody that came, and meeting adjourned.